Midnight Hedgehog.
Hi.
How's it going, everybody?
Why haven't I taken that away from you yet?
Hello.
Hi. I'm Batman.
You are Batman.
You can get my Totally Cool shirt at, the Mixed Tees link in the description below. We got a $5 super chat from Sister Hero already.
Did Bat Tom find out whoever was behind the virus?
Yes, he did.
Joker, did you release the virus? Did you get the virus? No, Batsy, I wasn't behind the virus.
Alfred, I just figured out where the COVID may have come from. It came from bats.
Mm.
And we have a whole fucking cave full of them. What are we going to do?
Might I suggest calling an exterminator?
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What are we going to do? I might have the coof.
Well, your beard surely makes it difficult to tell.
I know it's massively awesome and manly. Well, happy Man's Day. It's a good day to be a man.
Yes, it certainly is, sir. Oh, today's Man's Day?
Yes, it is, George.
Like my kind of holiday.
I would imagine so. Interesting news today. The rest of our crew may be along shortly. We'll see. Captain Hare sends in $5. Thank you so much. Rob sounds moderately happy. That is unacceptable. Bring out the McCarty 3000.
McCarty 3000.
That must be Melissa McCarthy. Yes, I think he's referring to. Yeah, sooner or later we got to get to that Ghostbusters business. But let's not waste any time here. Let's get right to the news. What do you say? As we predicted and had been kind of semi-reporting through the Bond news, HBOMax is taking Wonder Woman on Christmas Day and date with theaters. An interesting move. I have a feeling that all the major chains will not carry the film. But I don't think it's going to matter because everybody's going to be sitting at home on Christmas watching it on HBOMax going, boy, that fucking sucked. I'm glad I didn't watch it in the theater.
I understand things that happen around me.
Yeah. Yes. So, Rob, take us through this latest story from Brady.
Yes. HBO Max, how HBO Max became Wonder Woman 1984's best option. Warner Brothers didn't have a lot of good options. You don't say. After studio release Christopher Nolan's Tenet in September to lackluster ticket sales, it was hesitant to unveil another $100 million movie in the middle of a pandemic or global toilet paper shortage.
Do you know this is National Toilet Day too?
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, don't hoard toilet paper, people. Really? I mean, come on, we're Americans. It's not like we have a high fiber diet to begin with. Anyway.
Yeah, and you know what? Those wet wipes are so much better.
Mm-hmm. And yet, just 3 months after Tenet tried and largely failed to reignite moviegoing, Warner Brothers had to make a decision about the fate of Wonder Woman 1984. The last blockbuster scheduled for 2020 after other major films such as No Time for Daycare and Soul. See, now they forgot to put Train at the end of this. Soul Train.
No. It's not the Soul Train movie,
Soul Train?
Rob.
No, it's not Don Cornelius. No,
it's not his life story.
Oh.
No, it's an animated Pixar film that nobody's ever heard of.
Because I remember back when I was a kid and being all bummed out around noon when Soul Train used to come on? Because that used to mean the end of cartoons.
I didn't hate Soul Train.
I didn't hate it either, but just you're like,
At least it was tunes. What I hated is like the news. Or like fucking like some dumb show that I didn't want to watch.
Mm.
I mean, I would put up with like sitcoms and Script Doctor coming in late.
Good evening.
Script, we were just saying about how we were all kind of bummed, like when we were kids, around noon when you saw Soul Train come on. Like, oh, bummer. That means cartoons are over.
That's not what I was saying. I was saying this.
You're fired. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.
Oh, I'm kidding, of course. No, welcome, Script Doctor. I know you were running a little late, and we appreciate you making it here. But I didn't hate. I liked it because it had music. I didn't like shit like when Jeopardy came on, or the news, or I mean, Wheel of Fortune was okay because at least it was somewhat entertaining.
Price is Right.
Price is Right was all right. Well, that was middle of the day though.
Yeah.
But
that was usually around noon time for me. That was like homesick.
But shit, Ra. I mean,
I know, yeah.
I'm trying to remember though, when did they really start doing a lot of after school programming? Because when I was a kid, I barely remember any. Like we had He-Man and shit at first.
What? I'm talking about Saturday morning.
And like Yogi, yeah, I was gonna say because like in the afternoons we'd get lucky once in a while. We'd have like maybe Yogi Bear or something like that reruns. But
in the '90s, there was the Fox Kid Hour, which was X-Men.
Oh yeah, by then
Spider-Man
it was
and Bach, and then Batman.
Yeah. By then you already had the Disney afternoons and all that shit had happened. But like I remember the first, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like we were talking about, like I'm trying to ask Rob because like I mean I grew up like I don't remember there being much in the afternoon until like G.I. Joe and Transformers and all those shows kind of took over the afternoon block. He-Man and all that shit was like the first one I really recall because like I remember in the afternoon it was always like, you know, I'd get home from school and I'd just go out and play. And then like one day my dad's like, come here. I'm like, what? And he's like, come in here, you're gonna watch something on TV. I'm like, it's the middle of the afternoon, what the fuck's on? And he's like setting me down and Lucy's on. I'm like, I don't want to watch I Love Lucy. He's like, no, just wait. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it's almost over, just chill. So like in 5 minutes felt like 20 years to a little kid. Yeah. But next thing I know I get He-Man, and my fucking mind is blown because here's my toys come to life on fucking TV for me.
Well, I remember the Saturday morning cartoons. It was from 6 a.m. to noon, and that was just
yeah. I mean, we had those, of course, but like I just it was never a thing in the afternoon. I remember, and then of course by the time the '80s ended, you had all the Disney afternoon shows and Inspector Gadget and all the other shows had come into the mix. Nerd Cookies, our good friend, sends in $2. Thank you so much. I already have HBO Max, so I'm glad they did this. I'm sure you're glad they did this, and all the other audience members who want to see this movie are glad that they did this, but I'm not so sure I'm sure HBO's glad they did this, but I don't know about Warner Brothers, which is technically the same thing. But anyway, continue with the story, Rob. When we got so rudely interrupted by, that Canadian, because, God, you goddamn Canadians are so fucking rude.
You're damn right, eh?
Fired. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.
I had to do it twice.
Wonder Woman, for its Christmas Day release, late date looming, the studio has found itself between a rock and a hard place. He said hard. On one hand, superstar director Patty Jenkins. She's directed 2 movies. Let's not go nuts now. Who wanted the follow-up to her 2017 superhero adventure Wonder Woman to have a splashy big screen debut. The original DC Comics adaptation, spotlighting Gal Gadot's female heroine, was the critical and commercial smash, generating $820 million in ticket sales globally. The sequel was expected to surpass the $1 billion mark. Did it? No, I don't think it did.
Which one?
The first Wonder Woman?
The first Wonder Woman? I don't think it did. No, I think it just barely made 900 some million, if I remember right.
Unless they're adding in like at-home sales.
Yet the studio was painfully aware that cases of the you-know-what were going up, not down, and seeing the virus continue to surge would affect those plans. Rising cases also meant that New York City and Los Angeles would likely double down on a decision to keep theaters closed. In the case of Tenet, Warner's estimated that the loss of those markets cost them tens of millions of dollars in revenue.
They either mean they're anticipating this one would have made $1 billion or it did with video sales. Yeah, because it only did $821 million altogether. The first one.
And that's
the
just
studio-
advertising math, not actual movie math.
Yeah. But the studio couldn't delay the release of Wonder Woman 1984 indefinitely. The movie was filmed and completed in 2018, which seemed like an eternity ago, given everything that's happened in the last few months. There was also a sense that a sequel would get stale if they waited until summer or next fall, 4 years after Wonder Woman premiered.
It's already growing mold.
It's aging like a fine cheese. Even with several promising vaccines, there's no guarantee that the world will return to some kind of normal in a matter of months. So Warner Brothers found itself weighing options that would have been unthinkable when the studio first greenlit Wonder Woman 1984. Up until the 11th hour, higher-ups at Warner Brothers were debating on the best release strategy, a combination that would allow the movie to play in theaters on Christmas Day while also making a splash on HBO Max and the subscription streaming service owned by its parent company, Warner Media.
I don't believe you.
So.
And the reason I put the I don't believe you is it's not going to play in anything but fucking local theaters. I guarantee you AMC and Cinemark are going to be like, fuck you, Warner Brothers. We're not carrying this movie because you got it on HBO Max. Just like they did with Bill and Ted and shit.
The studio heavily considered giving Wonder Woman 1984 a short and exclusive theatrical run, but instead, Warner's made the surprising decision to release the movie day and date, meaning it would land in theaters and on HBO Max simultaneously on December 25th. So there.
Yeah, and we kind of predicted something like this was going to happen. It almost like goes exactly with what Andre and I said yesterday, basically. And yeah, I'm not surprised at all. This is a big loss leader now for HBO Max. This adds more credence to our reports on the whole No Time to Die and Stargate business. MGM's obviously been making some other moves, and we'll get to that in a moment here. But yeah, I'm not surprised by this at all. But let's face it, every moment they wasted not getting this movie out in the theaters as close as they could to the original Wonder Woman, I don't think they were going up. And I think that's what they were trying to say, Rob, with this, is I think they were anticipating this was going to be $1 billion film. I don't think it would have. I really don't. I want to ask you, Script, first. I want to hear your thoughts. I think this movie only would have done maybe $600 or $700 million because I think the bad word of mouth would have killed it. And not only that, they've waited too long. And that's one thing DC has had a problem with since the very fucking start, is taking 10 years to get anything off the ground. Now, granted, this wasn't their fault, but we all know, we heard early on. I think you kind of insinuated you read the script. Is that true?
I have not read the script, but I do know 3 people that have. And they can't share it with me because it's watermarked with their names, so that sucks.
But I'm assuming from what you said, then it doesn't sound like it's too promising.
It's not too inventive. There's a lot of. I mean, there's things that are in the script that most normal people won't notice is like incongruity with actual 1984, which is, I guess, okay, like little discretionary aspects. But it's a really poorly. It's not very character motivated. There's not a whole lot of stuff actually going on. It's really just set piece followed by set piece. They try to create a cool relationship with Steve Trevor coming back, so to speak. But at least on the page, it fell flat. I don't know if Chris Pine's charm and his chemistry with Gal Gadot and what he can do with Patty Jenkins will make that better. I'm hoping it will be. But yeah, like, it's not written by a good screenwriter. Dave Callahan's not very good in my opinion. He might be a great guy in person and easy to work with, but what I've seen of his actual results is very lacking and not to the standard that I'm familiar with seeing in Hollywood. And Patty Jenkins, I think, is still getting a raw deal on this side of things because she's a pretty decent television director, and the films that she has done prior to Wonder Woman were quite solid, I would say. There's nothing wrong with her. But I do know that she had to warm up to Gal Gadot because she didn't want her for her Wonder Woman. She had to do what Zack Snyder said at that point. And this is the her first film without the influence of that old guard of Zack Snyder and what's going on there. And so she's kind of got a little bit more freedom to play.
Yeah. And I want to get
I don't know if that's going to track too well.
I want to get Rob's take on this. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Who was Patty Jenkins' first choice for Wonder Woman?
I don't remember, but it was also an unknown. But I might have a picture somewhere around here because I had a whole bunch of weird things. But I do know that she looked far more like Linda Carter than Gal Gadot did.
Yeah, Gal Gadot was picked by Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
And again, like Rust in Peace asked a very good question here. Or he goes, if they all take so long, why do they appear rushed to compete with the MCU? It's because they're always trying to play catch up. But I will remind you, every single DC movie has been delayed to this point, except for I think Suicide Squad, right? Script?
Yes.
I think every other, besides that one, every single other one has been delayed by a year or two.
That is correct.
All the
And
way back to
Man
Man of Steel, yeah.
Well, actually, a little bit before that, because when Christopher Nolan was doing The Dark Knight, Warner Brothers was trying to get some more traction with regards to their follow-up to Superman Returns, which didn't make enough money. They were looking at possibly getting the Green Lantern film to sort of connect to that universe, but Nolan wouldn't have that. He basically did not want any of the other stuff there. So he ended up costing Warner Brothers a couple of years with creating their own DC cinematic universe.
Joker isn't part of the DCEU cartoon, man. Joker came together rather quickly and went without a hitch. And that was like, that's what the joke that keeps coming up, that Warner only has a hit on accident.
Which is true at this point. Yeah, they don't have the same
gotten to that
infrastructure
point.
team.
Like, I mean, they've done well with Aquaman and a few other things since, and they're trying to get things revamped. But again, I digress. Like, they pulled this movie from theaters way before the coup. There was a problem behind the scenes, and we knew it. We heard, and the script is kind of supporting that now. We heard they had a very piss poor test screening, and they were going to retool the film. I don't know what was done. Nobody knows what was done at this point, because right after they did that, then everything got shut down. So I don't know what they were able to redo, if they were able to even get any reshots in. I don't know if you heard anything, Script.
No, I haven't heard anything with regards to reshoots. I know that there's been other edits, not really like huge cuts. And some of the stories that I have heard said that it's no different than the issues that they had the first time when they made the film, because the original test screening was actually performed really terribly. There was even people at Warner Brothers who were fired and then went to media outlets and said this is why they were fired.
And I still stand by that first film falls completely apart in that third act. It's
yes, it does. I would say the
feels like a
third act
reshot
is
mess. And then so my original question though, Script, was how much do you think this would have made even if they were able to release it right now with theaters at basically full capacity?
I would say guaranteed $500 million. Guaranteed.
So you're
just
even going
on
lower
recognition.
Than
yeah,
so you're even going lower
that's guaranteed. I mean, that's just saying like, okay, just to get your first 2 weekends, you'll definitely get its $500 million within the first like 2 to 3 weekends. And then if it was well received, if people really liked it, if they wanted to see it again, then you're looking close to like 680, 700.
That's about where I said. All right, what do you think, Rob? Everything kind of we just asked, Script.
Yes.
Well, here's the other thing that's kind of hurting the DC brand right now is that because Zack Snyder got his choice to cast all the characters, the directors that they're bringing in are basically trying to work with someone else's vision within their own narrative style, and you can kind of see the tug of war with that. Like James Wan did a pretty decent job with Aquaman.
Right, and that's kind of some of the problems I heard with Wonder Woman is that it's trying to do its own thing, and now they're stuck in this kind of limbo of, are we still in the Snyderverse or are we not? And that's what I heard some of the confusion was with the Wonder Woman 84, is it's like its own monster. It like is not really a
kind of like
sequel.
a soft reboot, but not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I was hearing from my people, was not just even soft reboot, but they were going completely like, they were going to kind of like cut all ties with the DC Universe aspect of it. Like it wasn't going to be all intertwined anymore. But now that's even kind of up in the air. And that's where we heard there was a lot of this push and pull between Warner Brothers and AT&T. Because AT&T was like, well, give the fans what they want. They want the Snyder Cut. Why are you hiding this from them? And Warner Brothers is like, yeah, but we're trying to get away from the Snyderverse because that was the problem. And again, I'm not saying anything to Snyder fans out there. It's just, it was the way things were going at the time. And I mean, you had DC films that weren't nearly performing as well as they should have. There is no reason Batman v Superman shouldn't have been $1 billion film.
Like an easy billion, yeah.
An easy billion. and the fact that the movie was so dark and it was received so poorly is the reason why it did so poorly. And then it did well on video, of course, because it had a much better cut. But again, that's even arguable. But then, of course, it just all fell apart with Justice League. But Captain Harris sent us go ahead, script.
Well, what I was going to point out is that DC actually had a really awesome opportunity with their movies, because they could have taken the Marvel formula that Marvel was using before Disney bought them, which is basically you have your Iron Man movie, your Captain America and Thor movie, all have different tones, but they all have a very loose through line, and each director had their stamp on those first three films. And DC could have done that, because as soon as you get to Avengers, you now are in the cookie cutter stage of your Marvel franchise, and DC would have had enough time to see how that would be kind of antithetical to what DC's brand or goal was going to be, that each character should have its own flair, and then you kind of find a good director that can amalgamate those different tones into one epic story of a Justice League film. And instead, they kind of just threw it all. They gave one director of one franchise, of one character, they power over all the other franchises. And now every other director has to come in and work on that based on those rules. And that's why we're getting some divisive response to the Snyder Cut, even though I think that it's finally being released in a miniseries on HBO Max is awesome for those fans. But I can see from Warner Brothers' perspective versus AT&T's that, yeah, they got to kind of have to cut their losses and figure out a new way to do this in order to make each character profitable independently, and not just on the stylistic choices of one singular director, but taking advantage of all the other directors and all the other characters that they have in their archive to maximize their profit and potential.
Right. Anyway, so Captain Harris sent us a super chat, Rob. Rob is dead. Rob, you dead? Yep, he's dead. Captain Harris sent us $5. Give me a solo Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Freeze movie. I've been waiting 23 years, damn it. So have I.
Oh, man, 23 years. Sorry. Yeah, gosh, now I feel really old.
It's been a cold project for too long. Yeah. Did you see what I did there? Cold project. You guys suck. Where's the Rob guy? I think he's dead. Rob, are you dead? He's dead. Is he terminated? Yeah, he's terminated. Yeah, rest in peace. Or if I have anything to say about it, it'll be pieces. Goodbye. Yeah.
Rob's on ice.
Rob's on ice. He has got himself muted. He's either dealing with something or whatever, yeah. So, yeah, let's... was there anything else you had to say about this script? I know you're a little bit more personally involved in this because of your own history, but I mean, I heard at the time a lot of this was going on from my sources, and a lot of those sources have gone cold since, because I'm sure there were people who found the axe, but no, basically that everything was like they had no real leadership. Everybody was running around like chickens with their heads cut off, spending money like willy-nilly crazy, because I knew AT&T was coming in to foot the bill. So it was just like a free fall for all for like a couple of years there until it all settled down. And then everybody started acting like spoiled, rotten kids when they were told to behave is kind of what I was told.
Yeah, it's basically like kids let loose in a candy store. That's what I heard, the analogy that I heard. And AT&T, AT&T is probably as advantageous as something like Amazon with their Prime and their services that they're able to do, because again, AT&T is a internet service provider and cable service provider, so they have a constant means of getting money drawn in. They'll have a slow growth in order to pay off this debt, and don't get me wrong, it's going to take a long time to do that, but unlike other companies, they have that avenue to reliably be able to pay that off, so they can keep incurring more debt and still be able to chip away at it as years go by, without, unlike something like Disney, where so long as the parks are shut down, they're just going to keep on racking up more and more debt. And with something like Paramount and Sony and MGM, they don't have those other options to sort of bring in money from other avenues, from other revenue sources. So yeah, AT&T, Warner Brothers is even though they're the most in debt out of all of them, they're the ones that are probably able to keep that at bay for a while, even though they are going to be selling off some useless assets. I think they're going to be shutting down the DC publishing aspect, but not selling that off, because if they sell that off, there might be a legal issue with regards to the rights of those characters for print that I think AT&T would still want to retain. But yeah, it's just it's kind of a little nuts over there, and I'm hoping that in the new year, after Killer gets through with what he's doing, they're able to get a bit more organized. So we'll see what happens come summer of 2021.
Nerd Cookies sent in a super chat. Put the nerd cookies down. Yeah. More Bad Arnold jokes, please. All right. I would have done a Mr. Freeze movie, but the box office for Batman and Robin put that movie on ice. Yeah. See what I did there?
Akiva Goldsman wrote that.
Yeah, Akiva Goldsman, that man has no heart. He has a heart of ice. Get it? Yeah. I'm full of them. Nice to meet you.
Oy vey.
Rob's alive.
Yeah, well, I had a phone call. Of course, I don't have a phone down here anymore. So I gotta
get into the 21st century, Rob. Most people have what's called a cell phone now.
Yeah, well, it came on a different phone.
Skynet. It's going to take over everything.
A cup of coffee too.
Still working on that call forwarding, eh? Yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we call on your message machine. Here's your inbound message thing. Hello, you've reached Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm here to say I'll be back, and I'll answer your call then, but right now I'm busy. Yeah, there you go. Leave a message after the beep. Beep.
Beep.
There you go, everybody.
I'm getting weird Jerky Boys flashbacks right now.
Hey, Jerky.
Smear.
So moving on, I did have a related story with the whole MGM business, since MGM was in talks with HBO and everything's going on over there. They were talking about Stargate. We broke that news just recently, even though nobody's picked it up. It is the more and more this comes out that it's just being more, I wouldn't say confirmed, but it's more likely that it's true. MGM is developing a live-action CGI hybrid movie with Sonic the Hedgehog's Jeff Fowler for the Pink Panther. I'm assuming this would be the animated one and not the
Clouseau one.
Yeah. Thundercats Ho! Thank you for the £2. Or that's 2. Yeah, that's £2.
That's
right?
£2.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got it right. £2 from Thundercats Ho! Thundercats was another one from the afternoons. I remember the came at that time as well. Yeah.
Lionel. Yeah.
Do you think MGM is confused? That they believe this is a LGBTQ movie, Pink Panther. That's why they're.
I don't know, but he got upset when he stepped on an ant.
Yeah, there's that.
Because he said dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant, dead ant. That is the dumbest, oldest fucking joke in the fucking book. I
only like the Seth MacFarlane recent Pink Panther joke where he's dying because he's ingested so much of that Corning's Pink Panther fiberglass insulation. But don't worry, he won't burn in hell, because now with all that Corning's fiberglass insulation.
Like, really though, what else kept the Pink Panther alive besides those commercials? Let's be clear here, because the cartoons are okay, but I wouldn't say they necessarily age like a fine wine like the Looney Tunes. You know what I mean? They kind of date themselves quite a bit. And the Pink Panther's never had a strong personality. Motherfucker don't even talk.
Well, I mean, it's the diamond that it really is about. The Panther was just the fun little cartoon for the opening credits.
Yeah, they tried to do this little thing, and I get it. They're cute, and they kind of try and turn him into like this Bugs Bunny character to Clouseau's, like whatever Clouseau is that week.
Yep.
In the little short, but yeah, I don't know. Willie Woodward sends in a buck. Thank you so much. But no, like, I mean, I've always enjoyed the Pink Panther for what it is, especially the movies, though. I've never been a huge fan of the animated version, though. But that seems to be what the case is here, right, Rob?
Yes. MGM is looking to bring back the classic animated character Pink Panther in a big way, as it has set Jeff Fowler, that's a familiar name, to direct a new live-action CGI hybrid feature film centered around the iconic cat. Chris Bremer will write MGM's modern reimagining, with Lawrence Mirisch, Julie Andrews Edwards of Jeffrey Productions, Rideback's Dan Lind, and Jonathan Eyrick producing. Walter Mirisch and Rideback's Ryan Halpern will executive produce. Father is no stranger to the genre, having helmed the live-action hybrid Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, okay. Oh, that's where, okay. That's where I know that name from. Adaptation for Paramount. The film is one of the biggest hits of 2020, and Paramount has already put a sequel in development. Popular all over the world, the legacy of the iconic Pink Panther has endured for more than 50 years and continues to be discovered by new generations, said Michael DeLuca, MGM Film Group chairman, and Pamela Abdi.
Ha! He wound up over there? That's funny. Sorry. Mike DeLuca used to work for New Line.
Yep.
MGM Film Group president. We are so happy to come together with Jeff, Chris, Larry, Julie, Dan, Jonathan, Walter, Ryan, Cubby, Shlomo, Binky, Joey, Johnny, Marky, Richie, Boutros.
You forgot Stumpy.
Any other people? No.
Stubby Pete.
Kramer, George, Elaine, Oscar, Felix. Yeah.
Chandler, Phoebe, Ross.
Barney,
How
Dietrich.
many times do I have to tell you to stop leaving notes on my pillow? I hate little notes on my pillow. We're out of cornflakes. F you. It took me 3.5 hours to figure out that F you meant Felix Unger. I can't take it anymore.
Yeah. Barney, Wojo, Dietrich.
I have to do that every time I hear the fucking Odd Couple. I don't know why. I did the Odd Couple play in high school, and that line stuck with me for some reason. Just
that was my one real acting ambition, to play Oscar Madison. In 1964, the Mirisch Company produced Blake Edwards' The Pink Panther, starring Peter Sellers as a bumbling French detective, and Edwards wrote and directed 8 titles in the series. The film also introduced the world to Henry Mancini's memorable Pink Panther theme, which was nominated for an Academy Award. That same year, the first theatrical cartoon was produced, based on the character in the film's main title sequence. The cartoons were made by DePatie Frelling Enterprises. The Pink Panther won an Oscar for Best Animated Short in 1964, and the Pink Panther was shown on movie screens until the 1970s. The Pink Panther show started in its television run in 1969 and ran through 1994. Pink Panther cartoons are still shown on TV around the world. Brimmer recently wrote for Sony Pictures' Bad Boys for Life and is currently writing next installment franchise National Treasure 3. He's also writing Paramount Hasbro film Mask, which will be directed by F. Gary Gray. WME Reps Fowler. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Nobody cares.
That's it? All right. Well,
Okay.
Yeah. John Willis sent us $5, and Willie also sent us a $1 donation. Thank you so much. Check out Willie Woodward's channel if you haven't already. John Willis, though, says, guys, I have to ask. Me and chat's dying to know. Stargate the movie series, Stargate the TV series, Roland or Wright? I don't know. My assumption from what I heard is it'll probably be an HBOMax series. I don't know if it's going to be a complete reboot. I don't know if it's going to be an extension. I don't know if it's going to be a reboot. I haven't heard a damn thing about it. All I know is this, that a company that's involved with it besides MGM is a Canadian company, I guess. I don't know if Script can help me with that one there, but they're insisting that the show be shot in Canada, and that's one thing HBO is kind of like about. That's the only thing I heard on it.
I'm trying to remember what the Canadian company was.
So I'm assuming it's a show. Yeah, sorry.
I thought it was Alliance Atlantis that co-produced that, and that was kind of a co-Canadian.
That might have been the company they were talking about.
But I don't think they're around anymore. I mean, if they are,
whoever they sold out to, which probably would have been Lionsgate, I believe, or something like that.
I think so. Yes. But I do know that there's a lot of reasons they want it shot up in Canada. Number one, I think one of the main Stargate sets is still up here and just in storage, so it'd be cheaper to just take it out of storage and put it in a new location in Canada than cross the border or rebuild it somewhere else. Yeah. I don't know. There's all sorts of weird rights on that issue right now. But
No, but
hopefully
yeah,
they'll-
that's what we heard is that they were in discussion with MGM over No Time to Die and Stargate. And these two properties were to help fill that gap. And that's where we started hearing the Wonder Woman rumors as well. Because, again, I reiterate, I'm imagining, and again, I'm speculating, but I'm pretty sure the reason why is, like I said, they've gotten so far past all the license bullshit. At this point, they just might as well get it the fuck out there. It's pointless. The toys have been out. The all the stuff at Dairy Queen and Doritos and all that shit's been done and over with. They're not getting that back. Doritos is not going to reprint a bunch of fucking Wonder Woman bags. So it's over with. They just might as well just call it a day. It's kind of like with Bond. I mean, they spent, how much was it? $30 million, we figured, Rob?
I think so, yeah.
On the advertising before they cut everything back?
Yeah, it's about 30 million. That sounds about right.
Oh,
So yeah, so like that movie's already on the hook for 250, 300 million now. You were gonna
I
say
think
something,
Double
Script,
Secret. Yeah, I think it's Double Secret Productions, because Alliance used to have distribution rights for a couple of MGM films. I think Double Secret's the one that has co-rights for the TV series. So that's what might be MGM, because MGM owns the property, but I think the TV rights for production are owned by Double.
Yeah, the
Double
guy didn't
Secret.
specify who. He just said it was a Canadian company.
Yeah.
Or it could have been a guy. It might have been a woman. But speaking of guys, on Guy Day, Kurt Russell proves that he's not only a guy's guy as usual, but he's probably the coolest guy in the world. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he is a little eccentric, but yeah, he's still cool.
You ever met him?
Nope, but I've met people that worked with him, and they all have great stories, but they do remark that, yes, he is eccentric.
I don't know what eccentric means, but you know what? He seems like a cool dude to me.
He's a right-leaning guy, but he doesn't like to preach publicly about that type of stuff, but he does have eccentric stories about right-leaning stuff and left-wing conspiracies and whatnot.
Well,
they're quite entertaining, but he keeps that close to the chest.
Then I guess that would kind of lean into this story and why he would suggest that a lot of his fellow actors kindly shut the fuck up about their politics anyway.
Yeah.
And before we jump into this, Mr. Wolverine 007, a good friend of the channel, says, if they do my Stargate wrong, I'm popping heads, boy. They better tread light. My guess is they're going to probably try and treat it. They're going to want to bring in all the Stargate fans. I mean, it's not, it was a big hit for Showtime and USA for years, or what other channel?
Showtime, Sci-Fi.
Or Sci-Fi, yeah.
USA Channel, any other types of channels. I think the goal is to create just a follow-up series to the TV franchise, because there was some Twitter storms that happened a couple times this year and last year to try and get Stargate, at least get Stargate recognized on social media.
There have been
from
rumblings,
studios.
yeah, and they did some net show, like an internet-based show, like it was released online a little while back here. I know Mecca, I think, covered that or talked about it. So, again, I don't know much more, but the more we learn, we will let you guys know. That's all I know right now is that I'm assuming it's a show by the way they had presented it in the discussion. But
I think it's a show, yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Russell, though, Rob, let us in on this little ditty here.
Hold on. Okay. Kurt Russell. I just had it up.
Kurt Russell, the coolest man in showbiz.
Kurt Russell says stars who get political hurt their craft. As far as I'm concerned, you should step away from saying anything so that you can still be seen by the audience in any character.
And I'm an idiot. I didn't even see I didn't even think about the Stargate fucking connection to make a perfect segue here. But anyway, continue, Rob. I apologize.
Kurt also maintains that Hollywood stars should not wade into politics publicly, and doing so only hurts their craft. Accompanied by partner Goldie Hawn for a co-feature in the New York Times published on Wednesday, the iconic actor made clear his views on Hollywood and politics being oil and water. I've always been someone who felt we are court jesters, said Russell, who stars alongside Hawn in Netflix's Christmas Chronicles 2. That's what we do. And as far as I'm concerned, you should step away from saying anything so that you can be still seen by the audience in any character. That is not to say Russell believes that stars should not be well informed. It would just behoove them to keep their opinions to themselves, he says. Pardon me. There's no reason entertainers can't learn just as much as anybody else about a subject, whatever it is, he said. But I think that's what's sad about it. is that they lose their status as a court jester. And I'm a court jester. That's what I was born to do. He continued, a court jester is the only one who can walk into the castle and put the king down as long as he doesn't hit too close to home. I think that's been big. And I think that's been a big, important part of all cultures throughout history. And I'd like to see it stay in ours. Han and Russell also reflected in their opinions. The dwindling number of true movie stars. The pandemic may very well end that notion entirely, they said. We're all trying to figure out what to do, said Han. Of the current state of Hollywood. I mean, when you look at how AMC has only so much money to exist before it goes away, when you see that big screen and people there are there in blah, 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 blah. When you see that big screen and people are in there engaging, there's nothing like it. It makes me very melancholy to know that could be over. She continued, however, there's more content now than ever. And not only that, there's a place for content. We're looking at incredible talent. But the one thing I wonder about all that. Okay, but the one, why can't I read that? But the one thing I wonder about all of that is, will there be any?
Did you get high and forget how to read again?
Yeah, I did. Dude, I forgot how to read.
The words are here, man, but I don't understand them.
Okay, so if you recognize a letter that looks like a triangle, that's an A.
Left to right, up and down.
A B looks like a pair of boobs.
I think we're getting the point here, though, just the same. I love what Kurt is saying here. I don't care what side of the aisle he's on. I've even said the same thing a little bit about Gina, and I'm not bashing her, but I'm like, I've said it, maybe she should back off just a tad on obviously showing her hand here, because she had a good thing going there, but she's starting to go into the other direction and being just as bad as some of the other celebrities and pushing their interest. And I see a lot of people on the right who don't seem to have a problem with celebrities speaking out on the right, but they have tons of problems with celebrities speaking on the left. I see it both ways. I say just shut the fuck up. Politics are not your game. I mean, if you're in a movie that's very politically driven, sure, fine, talk a little bit about it, but not everybody's making milk. You know what I mean? Sean Penn did that movie how many years ago? Okay, fine. He could talk about, the gay rights movement and all this political shit and all that stuff then. But motherfucker hasn't been able to shut up about politics his entire fucking life.
Yeah, as soon as Spicoli landed, that's when he started talking about politics.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it'd be one thing if you're doing something and you're trying to get a message out there, fine. But if you're trying to, like, be an actor and be somebody who's in the public, and this goes for fucking corporations and the same fucking thing, and I've said this a million times over, and I know Rob has and Script has too, keep your fucking politics to yourself. Nobody cares what your politics are. And in fact, like he's saying here, it'll do you less of a service to let everybody know, because you're already going to alienate at least half your fucking audience that way. Because we know for a fact, at least one side of the game fucking loves to just fucking alienate somebody if they know they're not the right thing. And just like somebody pointed out in the chat here earlier, Twitter's going to go after. Oh, fuck, they will, yes. They probably, I'm surprised they really haven't already. This just came down
on
this
Twitter.
morning.
I think he was kicked off.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. I mean, you've got the Twitter. Don't even get me started on that business either. Again, I'm not trying to pretend that there's one side's better than the other, one side's worse than the other. No. My point is everybody's just needs to chill the fuck out, especially if you're an actor, a musician, somebody who's in the public light. That's even why we have that policy here at Midnight's Edge where we do not get into our personal politics. We are not out here to influence anybody's fucking thinking whatsoever as far as their politics go. Right, Rob? Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Willie Woodward sends it $2.
All my mics muted.
I know you're watching porn now. Quit.
Yeah.
Russell ain't wrong. Preach. Jack Burton. Preach. Exactly. I'd rather hear people come out and saying shit like, "Shut the fuck up about your damn politics." Disney must pay Alan Dean Foster simple theft, says Nelson Sherrod. Yeah, that was something that's come up too. Is evidently Disney has not been paying Alan Dean Foster or something like that.
Or any of the authors for the
residuals.
Now, what's kind of funny is that the point that Kurt Russell's making here is an old acting lesson given to their child actors from the 60s about being objective with regards to personal politics and stuff. Because Kurt Russell was a Disney kid actor. He was part of like the Mickey Mouse Club way back then, if I recall correctly, and he was even in a couple of Elvis movies as a kid. So he's been in the industry a long time, and he knows very, very well that an actor just has to be a performer. And his school of acting, which I've heard many times from those that work with him, which basically hit your mark, say your line, get out. That's basically what he does. Everything else that happens as a result of that is just personal flair from whatever director he's working with at the time. He doesn't try to go any further than that. And I think that's why he's had a very interesting and awesome career through the 70s, 80s, and for a lesser extent, the 90s. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that at that time, Disney had a little bit of moral fiber, so to speak, with regards to their actors and how they would train them and make them behave publicly so that they could be versatile across roles. And then nowadays you have this entire opposite perspective where they have, I guess, identity politics in their Star Wars films, and they have the weird agendas through Kathleen Kennedy and what her story group is doing. And it's just antithetical to what was the practice 50 years ago.
Yep. And Miss Martin Muses, our good friend Teresa, sends us a 99-cent super sticker. What is it here?
It's a red rose.
Oh, well, that's not surprising. Thank you so much. And yeah, like Nerd Cookies said here, who I also sent the link to Ords and Nerd Cookies, but Ords has not looked at his fucking Twitter, evidently. Quit smoking and look at your fucking Twitter. Nerd Cookies. I agree. Get both sides of politics out of escapist entertainment. Yes. Again, I've reiterated this million times because I've been called an istophobe in every which fucking way, shape, or form you could fucking think of. I don't care. And that's one thing I said when Leslie Headland was out there talking all her bullshit about I want a black writer and this, that, and the other. It's like, then go make a black story. There are 100. In fact, I know of a couple, personally, that have tons of black stories they'd love to tell. But Hollywood just goes, nah, it's not a franchise. But yet they act so fucking virtuous, right? But yet they're turning this shit down left and right, folks. Like, they could be making this shit just like they always did, doing it as it did. This is your Oscar bait shit, folks, but they're ignoring that crap because they keep pumping money into the one sure fucking fire hits they can. And that is fucking comic book movies and sequels and horror movies. Right? That's it. Am I right? A script? Because I'm sure, I guarantee you, if you don't walk into a fucking office with something like that, then you're pretty much laughed out anymore.
Well, they want easy sells, and that's basically your superhero movies and your man with gun films.
And remakes.
Those ones. Yep, and remakes, yeah.
What the hell kind of country is this where I can only hate a man if he's white?
Damn right. Stephen Otten says with $5, why Kurt Russell is my hero in one easy lesson. Yeah, Kurt is great. And the motherfucker owes Walt Disney his entire career and knows it. Let's see here. What did I do? Oh, I must have, I didn't hit, oh man. I pulled a stoner boner. I didn't hit enter. I'm sorry, Ords. I am so sorry. Yeah, I just didn't hit enter.
Okay.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. Sorry about that, man. I pulled the Doomcock. I sent him. No, you know what I sent him? I did. I sent him the Pink Panther story.
That's not the right link. Yeah, that's great.
No, that's what I did. Oh, what an idiot, Tom. All right. It's out there now. But while we're waiting for him, and possibly Nerd Cookies if she wants to join as well, Star Wars author appeals to Disney and fight over royalties, as was just pointed out in the super chat just before here from, let me see here, from Nelson Sharita, of course, or Sharita, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that either way. And we've got Elaine, Miss Nerd Cookies herself. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good. Glad to be here. Enjoying the conversation.
I apologize for that, Orts.
And I'm the fucking stoner.
I know, right? I'm like, no, I pulled the stoner boner. Didn't you hear me?
Well, it was funny because I was like, he sent me this article. I'm like, so he sent me the article.
Link.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, this fucking guy, man.
The Pink Panther article?
Yeah.
He sent me that too.
I did the same thing to you.
Yes.
Did I really?
Yeah, but she actually got her link, Tom.
How the fuck did I? Well, maybe I hit enter then. No, I didn't.
Another chat.
That's right.
How'd you get it through? Wow,
What?
you got it from somebody else. Okay.
I'm just gonna
say,
keep getting more high and forget about
somebody's
it.
got the thing
That's
playing
right.
in the
It's my
background.
thing
No,
too
that's
loud.
all right. I know I shared it
There
in
you
a couple chats because I wasn't sure who was showing up tonight. So okay, you got it from another angle. All right, gotcha.
Well,
Over here.
real quick, I just want to make a suggestion to all the actors out there who think they want to get political. Here's a good idea: act like you don't give a shit about politics and stop talking about it. Sorry,
I love Kurt Russell's comments. He's such a classy person.
Yep. I hope to meet him one day because I want to hear all his crazy stories.
An original Jack O'Neill too. Y'all were talking about Stargate, so
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you get an interview with the guy? Come on, I know you could make
Kurt?
it happen. Yeah,
oh my
come on.
God, dude.
That's tricky, but
I'll tweet
look
at
into
him.
that.
All right, I'll tweet at him.
I don't think we were just talking
I think
about
he
how
was
we don't think he's on
kicked off
Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah.
What?
Who knows? We'll see what we can come up with, though. I'm thinking about. Here's my thing right now with interviews. That's a problem. Is like this would have been the perfect time to probably get us a bunch of interviews, but we're so far behind in interviews right now. I've got interviews that are so old. I'm embarrassed to say how old they are. We haven't got them out yet. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
No, but yeah. Hopefully, when we get caught up, that'll be a goal. Is to get some more classy interviews. That's the goal. And you never know. You never know what we can come up with. But yeah, so like, is there anything else we talked about so far that you guys want to talk about before we move on to this story here about Star Wars?
I'm intrigued about the Pink Panther stuff, just for the simple fact that all the shit that happened with Sonic, and how they postponed the movie to go back and fix everything. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I support shit like that. If you're gonna take the time to make it better because the fans didn't like it, or the people who are interested in it didn't like it, I'm gonna spend more time paying attention to your shit than somebody else's who doesn't care about the people who actually invest money into this stuff. So I'm definitely intrigued for Pink Panther, man.
I wonder if Matt Fuhrer will come back to do the voice. Because he did it for like the 90s cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They did have him talk. I forgot.
I mostly just watched the ones in front of the Peter Sellers Pink Panther movies, those little shorts.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen a couple of the other like actual cartoon from the series, but yeah, I don't know how that will look.
Yeah,
just don't pull a Sonic, like get it right the first time, because that was frightening at first.
Hey, that was just more of like a 3D model design. Like the script was still going to be the same story.
Here's the thing though, with the sign, I'm okay with the way it went down for the simple fact that we saw. It wasn't like we saw behind the scenes. Essentially, we voiced our opinion about it. It was listened to. So that happening, to me, I appreciate it a little bit more for the simple fact that we know at least somebody out there gives a shit enough about what us as fans are saying to listen. So I'm okay with that. Hopefully people will learn from that and apply those. And so you're right. So we don't have to have that conversation every time. And
well, it wasn't an outrageous request either. That's the other part too. It was actually a rather reasonable and very easy to understand logical request for the fans to be like, hey, this does not look like the Sonic we recognize.
Well,
and it actually looks scary.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference to that. Like comparatively to where someone like Ryan Johnson would be like, well, you just don't get what I'm doing. I'm like, no,
right.
There's a whole slew of reasons why your movie's wrong. But when you come at it that much, it basically puts him on the defensive anyways. But when you say, oh yeah, there's this one thing that looks really off compared to the rest of the film, like someone's more receptive to that. And Paramount was really smart. And so was that director really smart to encourage and be like, yeah, maybe we screwed up on that one aspect and that's something we can actually fix, as opposed to like them saying, oh, you can't have James Marsden in there because there's no humans in Sonic, in which case they're not going to listen to you at that because that's part of their story that they actually shot and did. Right. So it's you have to understand which battles are to be picked, how they're presented, and what's the likelihood of the studio going to respond to that. And this Sonic one is a prime example of something that's completely and utterly reasonable.
Yeah. Well,
because it's not saying like they want new cast members, new this, new that, brand new story, remake the whole movie type of thing. They're like, you got to fix Sonic, and it's something feasible that you can do.
Right. Yeah. And you're right. And I don't think I heard anybody complaining. I mean, I'm not saying they did, but I didn't hear anything about these people complaining about that. Oh, there's humans in Sonic. I think, like you said, that's kind of a reasonable assumption. Like, well, this is kind of how you have to do it. And they actually had a story behind it and why they did it. So that was okay with that. Like there is, some things in there where you're kind of like, were they really trying to get some kind of agenda across here? But it felt natural. You know, when you see the movie, you kind of question it first, but as the story progresses, you're like, no, it's just in there. They didn't use this to sell it. They didn't use this to try to, these political aspects to try to sell this movie. They listened to the fans. They put out just a fun, and here's the thing, it's not a great movie, but it's just it is a fun movie to sit with the family and the kids and enjoy. And then, the nostalgia behind it. I'm a big nostalgia guy. I know a lot of people hate that stuff, but I like it. At the end of the movie where he's bouncing off the ship and stuff, and like it just takes you back to that, and yeah, man. So,
but there's a story about finding a family. Like Sonic was a kid without a family, and then Dr. Robotnik was a kid who outgrew his family, and you see the two conflict against each other, and then when he ends up, kind of being a surrogate son to James Marsters and his wife, you have that heartwarming undertone. Like it's very paint by numbers, but it's done fairly well.
Yeah, what I was going to say is the movie feels like, and it probably is, a script that was written back in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like the whole world is,
in jeopardy.
In jeopardy. It's a very simple story. We get a real quick, kind of movie. It's not like this big building up of a big bunch of worlds and shit, even though we know there's more to it and there will be more to come. They didn't dwell on all this shit of like, a bunch of winks, at trying to set up shit in the future. It just was a really straightforward, cute story. It didn't preach to us. You had a biracial couple, and it didn't make a huge fucking deal out of it.
Right.
You didn't have to
follow the same strokes of a normal couple, especially with like the one relative that hates the husband. But
that could have been. That was not. It
works with anybody, right?
Exactly. It's not race oriented, and she wasn't sitting there keep calling him a white boy or anything like that.
Right.
It just had that
called
simple
him a loser sheriff.
It was just the simple fact of it's just that the typical sister-in-law who's so overly judgmental, kind of like The Simpsons, like Marge's
Patty
sisters.
and Selma, yeah.
Exactly, it's just that typical, like, fucking thing. Captain Harris sent $5. I'm sad we'll never get Pink Panther versus Black Panther, with Chadwick Boseman. It would have been a smash hit.
Yeah.
Didn't somebody take, like, Pink Panther and put that over Chadwick Boseman when that movie came out or some shit, I thought? Maybe I dreamed it. I don't know.
I'll say real quick, just before we move on. Basically, what this movie Sonic did was what DC couldn't do, which was just have it, like you said, a simple plot to establish a character and one single universe, and then hint at others, and then the ending, you get the ending where you're like, oh, there's totally room for a sequel. Like they did it right. Like you said, it was very simplistic, but it was done well. They listened to the fans. And because of that, you're right, Nerd Cookies, let's hope we don't get a repeat of it. But at least we now know going forward, listen to the, people will, I think, be more inclined to listen to the fans. I guess that's my point. But anyway.
No, you're right. Wayne, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I was just gonna say I hope they've learned the lessons of the past.
Yeah.
And moving forward.
Well, sometimes it's good to have a little tease to the public for a more accurate focus group. That's just basically it.
Yeah, we'll see. I like Pink Panther. We'll see.
Yeah, so this came across, and I don't know too much about it. We're just going to run through it real quick here, but it looks like the author of many Star Wars books has been appealing to Disney to get royalties. You want to run through this real quick, Rob? Did I share the link for you?
Yeah, you should. Okay. And I got it up for a change.
Awesome. You're prepared. Tim Miller was one of the producers on Sonic. And I'm glad you feel like $1 million, Jesse. Glad to hear that.
Disney has been accused of failing to pay royalties to the acclaimed author Alan Dean Foster for his best-selling novelizations of films, including Star Wars and Alien, in a fight over copyright that is being described as unprecedented and grotesque. Both unprecedented and grotesque.
Both.
I wonder how many suits Disney has when it comes to royalties. I mean, they're being sued over Muppet Baby stuff.
Yeah, and that guy sounds like he's got a case, too.
Yeah, totally.
Well, he's been the ghostwriter for George Lucas since 1976, I think.
Yeah, he, for those who don't know real quick, one of the original guys who worked,
Mind's Eyes,
who worked on, well, I was talking about the guy, Muppet Baby guy.
Oh, yeah.
That story is one of the guys who basically created the idea for Muppet Babies had a deal with Jim Henson, and he has the original Bible for the entire show, all the characters, all this shit. and he's supposed to have some kind of deal with them, and Disney completely cut him out.
Yep.
Like, I guess they talked to him at first, and then they completely cut him out once
They might have even took some of his storyboard ideas for the new Muppet Babies they were going to work on. So I think that's why it even got brought to the court, was because I think they actually took some of his ideas, because he presented it to Disney, and then they said, nah, we'll just go somewhere else. Anyway.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is it'd be a little bit different if they were developed their own thing, and they're like, I'm sure they realize legally they have no tie to this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing, is it sounded like it was a gentleman's agreement between him and Jim Henson and the Henson Company after Jim died. But then again, I think in court, as long as you can establish that there was some kind of relationship, the problem he'll have, though, is did that relationship extend beyond the Henson Company into Disney when Disney acquired the Muppets? And then if that he doesn't have anything to stand on there, he may have something to stand on in a case of that they used all like any of his characters that because I know he created Skeeter.
Oh yeah.
And a few other things that are associated directly with Muppet Babies, to where if they use those things, then yeah, Disney could be on the hook here. But yeah, same thing probably goes here for this, Rob. I don't know if I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Go ahead. And Rob's dead again.
Yeah, I have the mic muted. Foster was approached by George Lucas to write the novelization of Star Wars: A New Hope, which was published at the end of 1976, shortly before the film was released. Foster alleges that when Disney acquired Lucasfilm in 2012, it bought the rights to the novel as well as the first Star Wars sequel novel, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, published in 1978. Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox in 2019 meant that it also acquired the rights to Foster's novelizations of Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3. But the science fiction author said Disney had not paid him royalties on the books, all of which are still in print and earning money for the media giant. Uh-oh. That's bad, ain't it?
That's terrible.
Yep.
Script, do you have anything to say to this? Because I'm sure you might know something or other through the writing guilds if he's got anything to stand on.
Well, I mean, when it comes to books itself or novelizations, I know more of the Canadian legal aspects because that's where I do it. I don't know how much of the American stuff, but I would imagine they're very similar since their laws do kind of overlap a lot. Based on the stipulations of the contract of buying Lucasfilm and all its subsidiary companies, such as like LucasArts and whatnot, I would imagine that those contracts are still active. And if they did some sort of claim saying like, oh, because we bought this brand new this company and we're reorganizing it and restructuring it because it didn't have a solid one to begin with, we need to do some new accounting maneuvers in order to make sure that all payouts are proper. And they could probably be just what they're essentially probably doing is saying, oh no, we're going to pay you. We just have to get all the accounting in order. Now that we've rebranded all those books as like Legends or some other classification, in which case it's just going to be backlogged. And I think Disney's doing that deliberately in order to not have to pay him out and maybe hoping that he passes away and then they can just cut his estate a check that's a lot smaller than what it's actually there for. That's my suspicion.
Damn.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's disgusting.
Snakes, dude. Every one of them snakes.
Sounds like Disney's MO with everything.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a very modern Disney approach. It's basically like, hey, what sort of legal things can we do? Like, it's probably cheaper. They probably think it's cheaper for them to pay accountants and lawyers to mess around with the numbers for decades than it is to just pay them the proper numbers of what those books are selling, because they are still selling.
And a lot of times they'll drag this shit out in court too, because they know a lot of times the people who are suing them have no real recourse as far as like they can't afford to go on and on and on and on through appeals.
Unless they have a lawyer that's working pro bono for like a significant percentage of the settlement, which you're never going to really find because most of them want that huge retainer up front and then like a subsequent retainer afterwards once, paperwork's filed and whatnot. So yeah, it's a tough place to be in for those types of negotiations.
Right. I mean, here's the thing though. I got to imagine, like, I've seen a lot of these kind of, when a lot of the people have gone back for certain kind of royalties, they've won in most cases. I'm almost hoping Ed Sullivan goes back for Men in Black. I didn't get a chance to talk to him about that, but when we do talk to him again, hopefully we do. get a chance to bring that up. And I remember Spinal Tap did it. Peter Jackson did it. Kevin Smith's done it. And of course, those are filmmakers, but I got to imagine, like a writer has got to have some similar rights when it comes to these kind of things.
There are creation rights for screenwriters. It just depends on what you negotiate when you sell the script. With regards to Men in Black, that was a comic book series first. So unless that someone purchased the rights to the comic book in order to adapt into the film, I don't know how successful he'll be on that, but I do hope he at least gets some money for that movie.
My guess is it's probably a net versus gross thing like you were talking about before. And it just being that he wasn't young at the time, but he may not have had a lawyer who was paying enough attention or something at that time. It's possible. Then again, Sony's probably just lying their fucking asses off. So
yeah, that's the case. I mean, they have a couple of contracts with James Gunn for TV series that he's supposed to produce, but they're not pulling the trigger on that, and they're not spending the money. I don't think they've paid him for the production on that, but that's just through rumor right now. And
again, I'm sure a lot of these cases, it's just like, well, then sue us. And it'll probably cost the person a hell of a lot more to sue than it
would.
Dude, that's so sneaky.
That you can break contracts in Hollywood and not really face too much of a recourse. If you just know how to negotiate properly after the fact, or at least get back to the negotiating table when you break the contract to sort of continue on the deal, you can do stuff like that. I mean, Mark Hamill had that perfect opportunity to do so during The Last Jedi, but he chose not to for, I don't know why. Probably a different type of mode of professionalism to do the job that he's paid to do, as opposed to something more concrete or more deeper.
And that's kind of what and that's exactly what a lot of these guys do, Ords. I mean, I know you sounded surprised there, but that's what they'll do is like, well, what are you going to do? Fucking sue us. That's really what they'll do. And then because
Bruce Willis has made that threat many times.
Yeah, that's what Peter Jackson had to do, I believe. And then it eventually got settled out of court over The Hobbit.
Yep.
And then Kevin Smith, he had the same issues with the Weinsteins, and I think Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez had similar complaints, and Kevin had kind of worked a deal out with Clerks, but I believe they all threatened to go to court with them, and then they all made a deal behind the scenes as well when everything kind of fell apart. I can't speak to that too much. I don't remember everything.
I think it's with the characters for Clerks and Mallrats. The only characters he owned outright were James.
Well, Mallrats was Universal, so that one I don't think was.
But that was a different contract,
But the only movie he has not been able to get out from underneath them that I know of is Dogma, because they own that one outright and they will not budge on it.
Damn, dude, that sucks. I'm guessing that's why we. I don't know. You seen Reboot, right, Tom?
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't. I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't think it was as good as all the other films, but I mean, for what it was, I thought it was pretty good.
It was nice. It was nice to revisit some of those old movies.
Yeah, but Dogma is my favorite of his, and what sucks is the way that worked out was he made it. Disney wouldn't release it, so the Weinsteins are like, "Well, fuck you, we'll buy it outright." So they own it completely outright, and then they released it through Lionsgate and Columbia. So, that's where that happened, but they own the actual rights to it, so.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know how much they paid for it, but I'm sure they want 3 or 4 times that, and they probably got some bad blood with Kevin anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right. That sucks. I'd love to see a sequel to that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he'd be able to. I mean, what characters he'd be able to use. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's been able to reuse a lot of them, but of course they've been in other Weinstein productions and shit too. And I'm trying to remember who all showed up in Reboot, if anybody did.
They didn't really touch base a whole lot on the Dogma stuff. I don't think a little bit. Bacon. Yeah, with they had Matt Damon in there, I think, for a few scenes, right?
Yeah.
They definitely had Ben Affleck.
Well, yeah, but he was playing Holden or whatever.
I think they had one scene with Matt Damon in there, if I remember. I have to watch it again.
I'm Krispy Kreme McDonald's.
I like that.
That's showing Rob's board. That would mean that.
So, Rob is just being a little boned by Disney. And I mean, Disney's brave because he's a dead weightlifter or deadlifter. He still weights. He's a bodybuilder-ish type of guy these days. So he can still throw down.
I think it's interesting too because didn't he do the novelization for Force Awakens?
I think so.
So he had that relationship with Disney, post. I mean,
I'm not sure if he did or not. Now that you mention that,
I think he did. I
You might be
mean,
right. I'm trying to remember now. I didn't buy it, so
I wonder if if the royalties from that at least are going through.
well, I would think that, or unless they paid him outright, because sometimes they'll do that anymore, right? Script where they'll just pay you up front,
They'll do a one-time large sum.
Yeah.
Usually those are pretty good paydays, especially if you're confident that the book's not going to sell too well.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
one of those things you take a shot on. Yeah, I'm going to make my pay now in case this doesn't work out well. But it's something like a Star Wars book.
I think I did buy the novelization.
But that's Rob right now.
Cute little boy.
Adorable.
Yes, Michael.
Yeah, Neil
Connor.
says he did, yeah.
I think I bought it just because I was like, is that it? Does the book have more?
Well, yeah, The Force Awakens does feel like half of a movie.
Yeah.
Real quick,
Yeah.
Tom, Michael Connor in the chat says, "I love the bit where Smith was interviewed at the protest outside Dogma." Didn't that actually happen to him? Where like he actually was
went to
interviewed
protest his own
outside his
movie.
movie?
Him and Scott
Yeah.
Moser.
The video is out there of it, I believe.
Yeah.
Nelson Sharita says, Disney is stealing just because they think they can. Do you really think they won't steal anywhere else? They think they can? Zero trust. Well, yeah, and they even stole flat out stuff from the EU for the movies, but they didn't, why not just do that then? Why just pick and choose? It just makes no sense.
No, there's lots of producers that steal various things throughout Hollywood in weird ways. Usually it's just stuff like with internal to their own franchise or their own studio. Like they'll go to another set in the midst of construction and be like, while they're during the construction, they'll shoot some background or EPK footage or B-roll stuff that they can cut into their own movie and not pay any of those people there because they just needed some sort of construction looking site for a shot. So that's kind of notorious. And then when you get on the more independent side of things, you have producers that do so much type of theft and shady business tactics that even if they get like arrested and thrown in jail for a week, they wear that as a badge of honor. And it's a really weird game all over Hollywood for that point. But for the most part, like not a whole lot of people make the effort to even try and steal. It's just a lot easier just to pay the person that has the good idea and make as much money as you can from it, because then you avoid legal battles.
The most famous one, I'm sure Script will agree with me, that I've heard is you'll go in, you'll pitch something, they'll say, oh, we already have something exactly like that in production already. Sorry. And then you just basically see your idea ripped off by somebody else, some producer.
And that hasn't happened since, I think, the 80s. Like legit.
Well, yeah,
legit.
because you have so many safeguards now.
There's so many safeguards
but
on top of that too. The other part too is like you have what's they jokingly call like the collective consciousness of storytelling, where you'll find like 3 or 4 writers who have no actual connections, but they'll just somehow see the same information within a certain window, and they'll write almost the exact same script, like beat for beat, but not character or dialogue wise. And you'll just end up having this zeitgeist of 3 movies that are roughly like the same story wise, but different characters, different locations. But it's basically like Deep Impact and Armageddon type of thing, or A Bug's Life and Ants. Like it's just weird that you have that type of thing. It happens just because there's so many people writing as many ideas as they can. They're chasing articles, they're chasing conversations that they've overheard. They're back and forth pitching ideas and workshopping stuff. Lots of things get mixed and matched, and sometimes you end up getting a couple of times a year scripts that are same concept and same goal and resolution. It just happens.
Mm-hmm. I read an article not too long ago about talking about that. There's usually like 2 very similar movies that with the same kind of concept that come out the same year. And I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, I had this whole list.
And they're completely unrelated productions, and there's no real crossing over.
Well, there should be asterisks next to a few of
Opens
those
your eyes.
because at one point you had what's his face jump ship from Disney to DreamWorks.
Oh yes, the guy who started up Quibi.
Yeah, Katzenberg, Jeffrey Katzenberg.
And
yeah. So basically, the reason why Disney and DreamWorks had like 5 movies that were exactly the same in the same, yeah, they're saying them now in the chat. There's a reason for that. Those movies shouldn't be considered what Script's talking about because he did that on purpose.
Yes.
Like he knew what Disney had coming on their slate, so he made sure they had an exact similar film. That's why Ants came out the same time as Bug's Life or before. That's why Deep Impact came out the same time as Armageddon. You had Dante's Peak and you had Volcano. It's all that shit. They knew exactly what Disney was up to for the next few years, so they made sure they had similar movies to try and compete with them.
Yep,
And
they
9
had-
times
they
out of 10, they
basically
just
took
could
broad
adjust
genre
ahead of time.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, they took the genre, took the one aspect that kind of identifies and be like, okay, we're going to do end of the world, disaster movie, volcano source, disaster movie, asteroid, or what have you. And then, yeah, they went from there. The other thing that DreamWorks had that he did is that he took all the public domain characters that Disney didn't have the rights for yet, or at least in the process of trying to get, and made fun of those. Like Shrek was a big thing that pissed off Disney.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Shrek was awesome.
That was kind of his big fuck you to Disney. In a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
pretty much.
I love Shrek.
Yeah.
That's
I mean-
why they make so much fun of Disney tropes. Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about like how people steal ideas and all that stuff, I mean, how many times have the Power Rangers been recreated? Essentially, you know, with it was Beetleborgs back in the day. I mean, yeah.
Oh, those are all
Well, and
rights
a lot
purchasing
of-
from Japan.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, and half of what's in
Right.
Power Rangers is stolen from like fucking
Right.
Voltron and shit anyway, if you really look
Well, no,
at
it's
it.
not actually stolen. It's a negotiation. So Sam Haban
Oh, it's
bought
the
the
same
rights
shit?
to do it for the
Okay.
United
I
States,
didn't
and then
know.
what he did is he just recut and purposed American actors in between the footage.
Yeah.
And he didn't even think he was going to get away with it. But
Well, see, because I always thought Voltron was a completely different thing, but
yeah, Voltron was different, but he bought the rights for those and he mixed and matched and did whatever he could. Like, so he bought every Sentai series that he could repurpose for
Yep.
gotcha.
American audience. And then then he sold that to Disney, and Disney screwed up with that huge. And then he managed to buy it back, I think making or like 25% what he sold it for. So he made like a $3 billion profit on his
Yeah.
own franchise.
Holy
Well,
shit.
Jack of all casuals brings up a good point here. And here's the thing is there needs to be a point where people realize there is a difference between inspiration, as he brings up here. Just like the music industry, it's not stealing, it's called being inspired. Well, I've seen a lot of shit that was inspired in the music industry be sued for plagiarism
Totally.
lately, and that'd be scary if that does jump over to movies, because like there's a lot of areas where there's a lot of shit that's inspired obviously by something else, but it bears no comparison to the other thing that it's, you know, not making fun of, but like, you know, paying homage
But paying
to or what
homage
have
to,
you.
or
yeah.
similar genre style. Like, there's
Right.
a lot. Like, since John Wick hit, there's a lot of indie films and outside other films that.
Well,
are
and
just
John
guy
Wick
with a
itself
gun.
is an homage to like kung fu, you know, Hong Kong.
Is kung
films
fu
and-
with just guns.
yeah, all the
Or
Hong,
like
Hong
Death
Kong
Wish type of
action,
thing, yeah.
you know, crime films. Lance Alito has a question. I have an opinion, but I guess it could be changed. Why is nudity and narcissism a must these days? All of my favorite media, even as a pubescent child in the 90s. I'm not so sure about the whole thing in the 90s. The narcissism, as far as like, depends on what kind of narcissism you're talking about. If you're talking about the modern day narcissism, that's all completely born out of this whole like entitlement social media generation we have now. But there was a narcissistic kind of run in the 80s just of the me generation, which was like I guess that would be your generation, Rob.
No response.
Or would you be 10 years younger than that generation, maybe?
Well, Rob's between Gen X and baby boomers. Right?
I was going to say he might be just outside of that one.
I consider myself Gen X.
Yeah, so your brother would probably be more me generation. But like, okay, so you had this kind of run in that era, if that's what you mean, that kind of bore the thing on the 90s. But I don't remember nudity being a must. And especially in the 90s, I think America became even more prudish to its...
Kind of. Like, there's a lot of sex talk in television shows, but they never really did anything with that unless you're on HBO.
I remember like certain things being a big deal, but I mean, even remember like a lot of like in movies, like they really toned down on nudity and
Yeah, I remember if you wanted to see nudity back in the 90s, you had to have a subscription to something.
like HBO. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Rob?
I remember when I used to get the cable guide every month. Remember that little booklet? Remember?
Yeah.
TV guide.
No, there was a cable guide that your cable company sent you out. It was a guide to everything that was on the pay channels. I used to just look through it and I used to see, okay, which something, and just look at the listing. Hey, what's this? The first thing I look for is okay, violence, nudity. Okay, gotta watch that. That's must be TV.
Well, that's because we couldn't get to anything then. Like, yeah, and then he's looks like Lance is clarifying here. Didn't have explicit sexual themes. It was just a scene to show a connection. Okay, unless you mean like nowadays with the whole like, well, what's between my, like, okay, perfect example, I guess, would be the whole Star Trek Discovery thing where they're making a big deal out of the sexuality of these two characters that has very, very little or nothing to do with the characters. I don't see the same as explicit.
More so.
Yeah, I guess I'm not seeing the connection here. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Or maybe with Lord of the Rings possibly having nudity.
Yeah.
oh well, that is
Maybe.
probably just to do with Game of Thrones. Then, if that's Game of Thrones is kind of a lark, I guess. I don't know how to. I mean, there are going to be a lot of things that have been trying to emulate that, and they're going to try and copy that if that's what you're getting at. But I don't know if they're going to be really successful at doing that. But nudity has been really driven out of every other avenue I can think of. So, like, even horror films don't do explicit nudity anymore.
Yeah, that was like the 80s thing of a horror film. You go see a horror film, it's like you're going to see some...
You expected some boobs.
Yeah, the good old days, man.
It was only, I think, with the American Pie things that they went for both men and women. I think Jason Biggs showed off his stuff in that, if I recall correctly.
I haven't seen that, so I can't attest.
No, I saw the first one. I was like, no, I'm done. Like, this is not my comedy.
Those movies actually weren't that bad. All four of them aren't. No, I'm not counting
There's
all
like
the
7.
spin-off. I'm not counting those spin-off movies. I'm talking about the actual theatrical 4 films.
That first one was good. It was funny.
I thought 2 and 3 stood up to the first one, and that 4th film is a nice little wraparound, but those were like totally my generation, though. You got to understand, I graduated the year the first one came out.
Oh yeah.
So like that's totally my generation right there. So I totally
That was the stuff we were watching without our parents knowing. Like your parents be like, you're not allowed to watch that, and then we're over at our buddy's house and we're in a basement. Well, his parents are upstairs. Well, yeah, we're gonna watch this movie, of course.
Like Rob was only like what 10 when Porky's came out.
Like, what was that? 81?
10 or 11, yeah. Like you got to imagine this would have been if like Porky's came out when Rob would have been 17 or 18.
When did Fast Times come out?
88?
80, no, way earlier.
No,
than
80.
that.
God, I remember
80
I remember
or 82,
that
I think
that scene. You guys know what scene I'm talking about. I remember that scene was a prevalent part of my childhood.
I haven't seen it either. So.
You mean the most paused scene in VHS history?
Yeah.
Phoebe Cates?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't anybody knock?
And then like somehow like the rest of the tape is good, but that one spot on the tape is worn out so much that it's
That's
fuzzy.
a common joke in video stores. That was a very common joke in video stores. There's like between that scene, the scene in Basic Instinct.
Oh god.
Wow, yeah.
How did we get on this conversation?
This always gets
Lance
to that
Lato
point.
did this.
Look at what you started, Lance.
God bless you, Lance. God bless you.
Well, hopefully there's not in Lord of the Rings. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
think
I mean, if that's what you're getting at, that has everything to do with Game of Thrones. Completely everything to do with Game of Thrones.
You know what had a lot of nudity? True Blood.
Oh
Yeah, that's true. Well, yeah,
I never got
HBO
into that show.
shows,
Just
HBO
felt like
Showtime
vampires
shows,
and sex.
they made sure they always had some nudity in there because that was their whole gimmick.
It's on HBO too. HBO was like,
yeah.
HBO and Showtime did those. Yeah.
I enjoyed that show. There were seasons where I was like, meh, but you punch through it and it's got some good stuff through it. And I never felt like they were doing that. When Alan Ball was doing that to like just for the sake of like nudity. It was always like just there because it was part of the scene. It felt natural for the most part.
There's one that didn't feel natural. I know this one because one of my friends had to try and rewrite it over and over again, and he asked for my help, and I'm like, nope, not touching it, man. Because it was basically like some guy was like complaining that he hasn't been getting laid by this one chick or something, and then he basically was like, no, we're gonna do it here and now, and I'm like, this is so stupid. He's like, yeah, that's True Blood, man. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time because I'm curious as to which scene that is.
I don't know. I never saw it. I just know like that's basically all the parameters I know.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is it true to the books? I think I might have read one or two of those, but it was a long time ago.
The first season is pretty darn close to the book. The second season pretty close, and then it kind of trails off from there.
I don't know how many times we're going to see Gandalf's wand, but I'm sure we'll get some barely legal Smeagol.
Oh, clever.
Yeah, so it's
You want me to take my clothes off, precious?
I mean, he's not really wearing anything anyway. I mean,
It's a loincloth.
yeah, that's about all he's rocking, you know. That and the skullet. He's rocking.
There's a Golem game being developed that I'm.
I know. Tell me about it.
It looks
I know the
great.
guy who's working on it, and I'm like, how the fuck didn't you get a hold of me for the voice? He's like, they're like, oh, they already hired a guy. I'm like, well, fuck you.
It looks really good so far. Well, from what I've seen, I don't think there's been gameplay footage released, but I'm intrigued by it.
It looks like it's going to be an actual next-gen game, like with the lighting and the effects inside the game, and the scale of it looks amazing.
Yeah. I have a video on it if y'all want to check it out.
Well, because that's the thing is it's not attached to the other movies, but it was like it's their own thing or whatever. And I know, like I said, I know the guy who's writing a bunch of stuff for it, and I'm like, I could have done like a close facsimile, you know, because their version of him does kind of look like it, but it's that 25% different thing. So it's like, yeah.
It's almost like a cross between like the animated and what they had in the movie.
Yeah,
you could totally do it.
Nobody likes you.
This is why I love Tom.
Don't say that.
Tom is my precious.
Oh God, we used to do that shit and scare the hell out of girls. I hate that. Stop it.
That's funny.
Wants it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Screwballs. That was another one from the 80s. They had a shit. You could talk as soon as the VHS age came in, and Rob knows this, I'm sure. The VHS thing became a thing. Like you had, I don't know how many dozen teen sex comedies come out every fucking year. Like Johnny Depp was even in one
2010.
of them. Well, no. I'm talking about way early on. But even then, yeah, after the American Pie age, you had a lot of a resurgence. But everything up from American Pie to Sex Drive basically was kind of the end of it. But yeah.
Oh, Screwballs! I remember that. That was
way back in the early. That was a complete ripoff of Porky's.
Yeah.
What's up, Willie?
Hey, Willie. But anyway, we're talking about nudity, and Rob has been actually very quiet. He's tubing.
What?
Oh no. Oh, gross.
Gross.
Yeah, he missed the porn conversation last week, and now he's missing this.
The nudity one, yeah. This is weird. Someone who's got ample expertise is not contributing.
It's like somebody says weed, and I show up in the chat out of nowhere, and then Rob's nowhere to be found when we're talking about nudity.
I'm waiting for you. I'm waiting for you guys to get something wrong.
Uh-oh.
So that way I can put my Mr. Skin-like encyclopedic knowledge of cinematic nudity.
Okay, here. Oh, all right. Let's come up with a. Hold on. Let me think here. How many films have you seen where there's a main character wearing an eye patch?
Oh,
this is a thing.
Has it got pirates in it?
Sure. Okay. I don't know.
John Wayne.
Yeah, there's two versions of True Grit. Remember?
Rooster Cogburn had an eye patch, right?
Yeah, but so did Jack Burton.
Yep.
Well, Kurt Russell in Escape. Which one?
Kurt
Russell
Both of them.
movie.
He did in both of them. There we got him. Yeah, your mic finally works now. Hey, how you doing, Jesse? Just as we're kind of probably wrapping up here, but how you been, man?
Firing up my computer after I get home from work is like a waiting game.
Looks like you're getting some stuff moved there.
Yeah, either that or somebody stole all my pictures.
Right? No shit, right? I hear
you moving, bro?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just bought a new house.
Good, congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty nice too.
Fuck yeah, man.
It took a long time to find the right place. But
hey, you know what? That's worth waiting, man. It is. You got to find the one you want if you're going to spend that much money on this stuff.
Precisely, because if it wasn't the right place and I gave him a check like that, I'd be fucking drinking Pepto-Bismol right now, regretting my decision.
Oh, well, anyway, there was one more story to talk about. I don't know if we got everybody here for that much longer, but I forgot all about this. Because this dropped like in the middle of our last show, I think it was, and we totally missed out on it. But I think you'll be happy about this one because it's not Star Wars related, Jesse. Mel Gibson has confirmed that Lethal Weapon 5 is in the works.
Yes.
This is so bizarre to me.
Dick Donner's directing.
I was going to do a video on this.
Like, of all the people in
Verisimilitude.
Hollywood that haven't been canceled, how come, like, Mel Gibson was never canceled by these
He
people?
was canceled.
Is he just...
He was
what do
the
you mean?
original canceled star.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. brought him back.
Yeah, but is that...
Well,
wait,
he tried.
Did
He's
did he get
continually
canceled?
vilified, though.
Did he get canceled after that whole pulled over by the cop thing and talking about a certain...
Yeah, that's
chosen
what we're
people?
talking about. Yeah, he's been pretty much persona non grata since then.
I mean, even with
his
Robert
movies,
Downey Jr.'s comments, people still like every article about him has to bring it up.
Yep. Like, and he did like some okay films after that as well.
Exactly. Is he just too big to give a shit about them?
And he's in Fat Man right now.
Yes, he is, which looks amazing.
And Dark King
Have y'all
said,
seen it? Any of y'all?
no,
Is it
but
out?
I seen the trailer. I want to see it. Is it out? I haven't seen it yet. I didn't know if it was out yet. I thought it wasn't out until this Christmas. But Dark King says with Australian $2, Rob quiet about nudity? Call the cops. Abduction. That's what I was thinking. He's dead.
Yeah, it depends on who's nude.
He must be dead.
Favorite instrument, just saying.
I know. I always love Mel Gibson's movies.
Oh yeah, Maverick was great.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was in so many. And Bird on the Wire, I saw that on. It's on HBOMax, and I was gonna watch that. Like, that's hilarious. One
He was in the adaptation for Edge of Darkness, which is all right.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Braveheart, like all these epic films, and he has such range too. He can be very comedic and then very serious, like Ransom and these other films.
It's
Paycheck.
funny. William Wallace
Yeah.
came up on our Tower of
Payback.
London show because they actually killed him there, where he was held there. But he came up with a drawn and quartered portion.
Yeah, I just feel like he obviously had issues, and he was dealing with substance abuse problems. So whatever he says when he was under the influence of anything, like they're just continually holding that against him. And obviously he's trying to get better, and he's been a good source for Robert Downey Jr. to get clean, a good support for him. And now because of his support, Robert Downey Jr. has had this continued career and boost in his career and his health and the way he lives his life now, and he's doing really well. And that's because a lot to Mel Gibson. That's what he said. I can't remember if it was in a Golden Globe speech or something, but
No, I remember that speech. Yeah, he was basically
Yeah.
saying Mel Gibson told him to pay it forward, and now he gets to do it too for Mel. And what's also interesting is that Dick Donner has gone on record a number of times whenever he's told those quotes, he's like, "That's not any Mel Gibson I've ever known," and I've known the guy for like 25 years. So he's clearly said that has to be there's got to be some sort of other element involved that's causing those types of behaviors, and it's probably the substance abuse stuff, which we'll suspect.
Yeah. I was trying to find the name of the movie because I think they said that too, and I can't find it in there. But it's something like Final Lethal or Lethal Finale. I can't remember what the hell it was going to be called. But
Neither one of those is a very good movie.
Huh?
Neither one of those is a very good movie title.
No, I know. I can't remember what it was. That's not it. It's something similar to that, but it's not going to be called Lethal Weapon 5. Mark C. send in $5. Speaking of nudity in film, I have the Blu-ray of Under the Skin, full frontal Scarlett Johansson in 1080p. Giggity. Is that stand for penis?
Hold on, I gotta go over to Amazon and order that shit.
Is it just me, or does it seem like she'd kind of be a bitch if you hit on her?
I don't know. She seems like she'd be nice. Now, some of the other ones, I don't know
I
so
can't
much.
tell.
Steven Otten sends in $5. Far as much as I like Lethal Weapon movies, I think that ship sailed. Fat Man is currently on video on demand. Well, thanks for letting us know that, Steven. I will check out Fat Man because I know I wanted to see that. I don't know if it's so much sailed. Here's the thing. We were just talking. Blank St. Clair brought up Payback in the chat. And you know why that director's cut ever happened? I don't know if anybody really knows, but the timing of it to me, it tells me is they let him do that because they wanted to bring the movie out on Blu-ray, and it was bad timing because of Mel Gibson, so they hung it around the director because the director had the movie taken away from him by Mel. And as far as I'm concerned, Mel did a much better film. Like, if you watch both versions back to back, Mel's version of Payback is so much better than the other one. The other one's so dark and dour and shitty and just like fucking. It's a hard watch. But yeah, I think they were just trying to stroke the ego of this director and make Mel look bad in the process. But I mean, It was kind of the same thing with Mad Max, because Mel was on board with that for a long time until I think Warner Brothers probably flat out told George that we're not going to let Mel be in this movie. I think that was kind of what happened, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if anybody knows anything better, but
there is no Lethal Weapon without him.
He'll just have to go back to his massive mansion where he has enough room to build his own church.
You could call the movie. Yeah, those are original. Like those titles are bad. The Most Lethal Weapon. There you go.
I'm trying to
Did they
remember
say
what
what the title is?
Well, it's weird
in this
because there
version
is
of the
no
article.
subtitles for any of the Lethal Weapon series, so why wouldn't they just call it Lethal 5?
Yeah, Fast and Furious kind of. No, they do different takes sometimes.
Like Lethal
That's
Finale
true.
and all that. It reminds me of...
I'm trying to remember what it was.
Raid
I seen it in another version of the story. If somebody... Lethal Finale, is that what it was? Metal Massacre? Yeah, I wasn't too keen on it. I knew it was like... I hope
That's lame. Come on, man.
Yeah. Mr. Wolverine...
Well,
go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they're making Indiana Jones 5, like this doesn't seem that outlandish.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Wolverine 007 says with $5, speaking of fives, Fox fired topless Angelina Jolie. Said she was topless in a
lot of things
as well. Yeah, in a lot of things. And probably
Didn't, not for nothing. Aren't they gone now?
Willie.
They're replaced.
Well, I can't. Both my parents died of cancer. I can't make a cancer joke.
Oh, you mean hers? Well, she got implants years ago.
I thought she had them cut off from tumors.
I think she's got. Oh, I think she has implants, but I don't know what kind of shape they're in now. But
well, I'm sure for the right price, she'd show you. And she did Billy Bob after all.
I love that
Nerd
Cookies was the one who caught that first. Willie Woodward sends in $4.99. Much love, you guys. Even though you didn't invite your president perv to talk nudity. Sorry about that, Willie. I did promise you'd be able to come on the show soon, didn't I?
We still love you, though, Willie. We still love you, bro.
I wasn't even sure if I was going to have a show until the last minute tonight almost. So I was just like, fuck it.
Yeah, he didn't even send me the link, guys. It's
I
cool.
meant to. Deranged Lunatic sends in $1.99. Mel Gibson in The Edge of Darkness is a great movie. I'm trying to remember if I've seen Edge of Darkness. I think I have.
It didn't perform too well, even though it was a pretty solid adaptation. And fun fact, my mom's best friend produced that British TV series that it was based off of in the 80s.
Nice.
Yeah.
When he said that, I was thinking of Into Darkness. Which is
no, that's different. The Edge of Darkness is about a man that's trying to find out who murdered his daughter.
Yeah, I think I've seen it a long time ago when it first came out. It's been like 10 years since it came out, ain't it?
Yes.
See, even if I wasn't an
out in
actor, I wouldn't be able to
2009.
do that. It's too depressing.
Okay.
It's like to put yourself in that head state on purpose. Couldn't do it. There's certain roles that, as an actor, I would never be able to do if I was one. And that's probably one of them.
Yeah.
John in chat says Signs. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, Signs. Oh, I love that one.
I didn't like the ending, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
And Joaquin Phoenix,
Good
too.
movie.
That's really good.
Well, the thing is with Mal is he's even been in some bad ones, but he's generally good no matter what he's in.
Mm-hmm.
See, my big curiosity with this new Lethal Weapon movie was that, I know this is political and it's not a political show, but Danny Glover is like one of the big donators to something called the Bail Project that bails out Antifa fucks. And then Mel Gibson is obviously the other way. So I can't see it.
I'm pretty sure that fucking Richard Donner's a lefty too.
Yeah, but he's
not
almost dead.
lefty.
He's not? Wow, I'm
he's
surprised.
not that much. He's old school left. He's not
Okay.
crazy like that.
Oh, so he's middle
He's
of the
kind
road
of
now.
he'll be the middle. He'll be the middle man.
Yeah, the goalposts have moved. He is not type of thing.
All right.
Because him and Laura Schuler Donner definitely are left leaning, but
Look,
they haven't done any crazy
As
stuff.
far
in-
as Donner
in
goes,
their
he's
life.
90 fucking years old. This is probably going to be his last movie.
Yes. And it's a good one to end his career on too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and I think it's probably one of the best places for him to have a, sign off on Hollywood, head off into the sunset. I've done my piece. I made Superman. I made Lethal Weapon. I made Goonies. Y'all can go fuck yourselves. I'm done. He's done several other things too, but those are probably his highlights.
What if there's to be a Goonies too?
That'll never happen.
Please,
Come
no.
on, why?
It's not happening.
No, they've pretty much put a nail in that coffin now, considering the fact that all of them are way too fucking old at this point. It'd have to be about their grandkids. No, it'd have to be about their fucking grandkids now. That's
Well,
no,
the
I
grandkids
you
would
think
be
I'm
like
kidding.
5.
But that's what I,
surprised, though, if this happened down the line somewhere. I wouldn't
pretty
be
much
surprised.
everybody involved has already said no.
Well, they can write their own story. They can write their own story that is inspired by the original and come up with their own title, do their own thing. You don't have to call
Well,
it
they have.
Moonies.
Like Super 8 and Stranger Things.
Well, yeah,
don't they have that like reality show coming on that's like a bunch of kids are going to be put in like Goonies situation anyway already? That's like, I think that's what,
Seriously?
I thought I heard something like that.
Did they find an actual treasure map?
That sounds
I don't
hilarious.
remember. But like, no, they were talking for years and years and years. And I think once you went past that 20, 25 year mark, that ship had sailed. Pun intended. Like, I mean, you just, all these actors are way too fucking old.
God.
It's not like Lethal Weapon where we've been following the Goonies kids through 3 other adventures to this point. You know what I mean? Like,
Or they would just reboot it. Which
that's,
would be
oh yeah,
smart.
that'll happen
too.
way before we see a Goonies
Yeah.
2.
Mhm.
We'll get a
Toss this out
Goonies
there.
reboot first. Yeah.
Would the last Lethal Weapon movie have sucked without Jet Li?
I don't know. I liked Chris Rock in it.
I liked Chris Rock too.
The
but
last
I
Lethal Weapon
generally
movie was
liked
not
it.
terrible. I mean,
I actually like 4 quite a bit.
Yeah, 4's all right. I mean,
It was a lot more realistic than the rest.
just realize those kids that they had in like the grandkid of Murdoch, Murtaugh was Butters baby, and Gibbs, Riggs's baby. They're like 25 now.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's what this is going to be, is a handing down of the torch to the next generation.
Well, think
And it'd be
about
better
this
for this
way.
to be the last Lethal Weapon we see, as opposed to that bad taste that television series left in our mouths.
Well, yeah, it'll be the
I
last
forgot about
film,
that.
Oh, I
but
forgot about that.
they'll still leave the door open where I'm sure at least one of their kids will be a cop or something. You know what I mean?
That's been canceled, right? The series?
Oh, God, yeah.
that
that's
was
long
canceled because Damon Wayans left.
It was a
basically
big
like
bunch of
Reboot.
controversy behind the scenes. The main guy who played the Mel Gibson character was like drinking
Yeah.
and being belligerent and shit on the set, I
Sean
guess.
William
and-
Scott
No,
replaced
that's
him.
not true. Actually, that
Oh,
wasn't
what
true at all.
happened then?
Basically, the Mel Gibson character, that actor was trying to be professional because this was his biggest break with regards to television, even though he'd been acting for like 20 years. And Damon Wayans, you know, he's Damon Wayans. He didn't want to be doing the show in the first place. He thought it was going to be canceled before the first 13 episodes. And he was getting a little bit more irritating. And he was also missing out on his family events and stuff because he's a grandfather and whatnot. So he was trying to, get stuff wrapped up quickly. He would only be on set for the days of his actual close-ups, whatnot. There's only one time when the Mel Gibson actor lost his marbles, so to speak, because the first AD was not keeping the set silent, and then there's this young actor that was doing his monologue, and they kept on being interrupted because of the noise, and the actor just lost it. Like the Mel Gibson actor just lost it, and was like, "Get that noise under control or we're off." And he apologized for that, like pretty much that week. Yeah. Oh no, he apologized for that because like that's not the behavior. But like
if I watch you
with
try
someone
to
in the crew's not doing their
deliver,
job to
orally,
contain the set, that's their responsibility. The actor shouldn't be involved for that. And then they just wrote him out for the show because Damon Wayans is a far bigger name. And then they brought in Sean William Scott to play a new character who was actually pretty good. And sadly they just
Yeah.
decided
they
to
scrappy
end it
dude his ass.
pretty much.
There's
I
a
don't
guy
like
we
the
haven't
fact
heard
that he was a
from.
new character, because then it's not Lethal Weapon.
Well,
Precisely.
he's supposed to be so Rene Russo's. He's supposed to be like a character adapted from a Rene Russo's character. So like Rene Russo was Officer Cole in the
Lame.
Lethal Weapon series, and they made Sean William Scott Officer Cole. Yeah,
And there you go. There's my perfect example of I don't want him to make a woman into a guy. Fuck that.
well, it's not the same character. It's just
I
basically
don't
a
care.
relative
It's
of
still
him.
the same deal.
It's just the whole. It's just
This is
it's the
totally
names. Yeah,
original
exactly. It's
movie.
kind of
Rene Russo is one of the hottest fucking cops ever. Fight me. You can't.
And she
turn
likes
that
the Three
into Sean
Stooges,
Williams
so.
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
And she has handcuffs.
Yeah.
I love Man Without a Face, too, while we're...
Yeah,
I love
Andrew
that.
Pitko says, yeah, and that's another. Mel Gibson's done some great shit. Even like I said, even his worst movies he's good in. Dark King also brings up. He will never forget Mel for how he butchered history in Braveheart, The Patriot, and Apocalypto.
The Patriot is one of the greatest historically inaccurate movies.
Inaccurate, yes.
Braveheart's pretty close.
All they got right was that the French came. Like, seriously.
I don't think Mel gives a shit in that sense. He's like a really old school Hollywood guy.
He's like, first off, we're gonna save the whole country.
We're just here to give him a fucking show, sugar tits. Well, they didn't have that then, Mel. I don't give a fuck.
He's like, let me fix this. Okay, give me a tomahawk and let me fuck up a bunch of redcoats, like right off the bat. Now we got a movie.
Let me show you some real shit.
Well, the redcoats are the British.
Yeah, you did. Took them all out. I like that he had his little kids up in the woods too. That really added some weight to the scene.
Oh man, no,
I really like the Patriot.
Do I agree with anything that Mel said? Fuck no. But he was goddamn 3 sheets to the fucking wind. That's one thing that everybody forgets. This dude was so fucking fucked up at the time. He could probably said a lot of worse shit. You know what I mean?
Imagine if he started talking about like people in Hollywood.
Well, that's kind of what he was doing. I mean, I'm not gonna
in a very derogatory way.
Yeah, like that's kind of what killed his fucking situation where he was at. Like, yeah, he was pissed about whatever the fuck it was he was pissed about, and pissed at the same time, literally, as in pissed drunk. And yeah, I mean, he pulled a power play, I'm sure, and the cops didn't want to go for it. Because I'm sure that, what was it, in Beverly Hills or LA or whatever he got pulled over?
I think it was Beverly Hills, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's some.
Gotten away with it if he just said, I'm getting too old for this shit.
I bet you. Exactly.
But the cop would be like, that's Danny Glover's line.
Yeah, that's the wrong. Yeah, you're the wrong character for that. No, but like I can imagine, if I'm a Beverly Hills cop and I deal with fucking pretentious assholes all day long, and I got some movie star who thinks he's going to get out of whatever, and he's obviously way too fucking drunk to be driving. Of course they're going to take his ass in. I don't, I mean, do I blame the cops? No, absolutely not. I think Mel was completely in the wrong. He took responsibility for what he did. I feel like there's this essence of we cannot move on in anything and move forward in Hollywood or anybody anywhere in the social media age. Yeah, there's no redemption. It's bullshit. It's not like he killed anybody.
Hollywood stories are about redemption.
It's not like he killed anybody, and I get it. He was being a little anti-Semitic, and I don't mean to even diminutize what he said in any way. But
come on, as a guy who's got Jewish blood, the Jewish people are used to it. It doesn't bother us. It really doesn't.
My point was, I was going to get to is obviously what he was saying was deeply rooted into something that he probably will never talk about, or when he does, by that time, it'll be so far out there that'll be like, it's not an excuse, but I'm just saying, like, who's to say who pissed him off that day? And he taking his anger out.
Gary Busey and had to talk to him for like 3
hours. Who knows?
That's another thing, like the age of these movies. In the first Lethal Weapon movie, he had a knockdown, drag-out mercenary fight with Gary Busey.
It was kind of like when Liam Neeson brought that deal up, and he's like, yeah, I had a good friend of mine who was killed by a black guy, and I just wanted to go beat up some black guy, and he got fucking railed for it. And it's like, you guys are cutting off the part where he's went on and said, I realized that was wrong of me to think that way, and I was just an angry young man. No, you leave that part out.
Oh,
yeah. They don't get to the part where, he realized, oh, I was making a mistake by thinking like that.
I love when they edit something where it's like, and then it's like, well, he obviously had another paragraph to go.
Well, they don't even give you that half the time. That's what I'm saying. Like, the headline doesn't have to. They can cut off whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, that's the thing, because apology headlines don't sell. It's, the drama that sells.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and the whole point of the story that Liam was trying to say was, I was wrong for being racist. He wasn't saying I'm a fucking racist, but that's the way everybody was labeling him for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the easy target, right? So.
Exactly. Yeah. Andrew Pitco sends in another $5. Thank you so much. Says, blame Roland Emmerich for all the inaccuracies in the Patriot. Well, that's true. If you get Roland Emmerich involved in anything, don't expect any accuracy of any kind. Like, have you seen the original ending of Independence Day, for fuck's sake? Mel tried
the crop duster plane got involved somehow.
He strapped the fucking bomb to the fucking crop duster. And then I shit you not when I say strapped.
What?
Like literally.
I did not know this.
Like Doug
Yeah, it's
Page
on the
and shit.
DVD. Yeah,
Oh, I need
they
to
had
get
to
that.
change the ending because it was so unbelievable.
They're like using the.
In an
I
alien
love that
invasion
movie.
movie, that ending was unbelievable. Like that's the one thing, right?
They lost the audience at that point, so they had to change that. Like they had to go back and completely fix that. Like,
Which is brilliant just to
Well,
show
I'm
how
glad
bad of an idea it was. It's like you've got Jeff Goldblum hacking into alien technology, but no, the plane with the bomb strapped to it, that's where we're gonna
Too
lose.
much.
well, it wasn't. So, it was a crop duster with a fucking bomb strapped to
it
the
was a
son of a
crop
bitch.
Yeah.
And so instead of him being in the fighter pilot,
Exactly. Yeah, he shows up at the last minute. He's like, "I'm here, Mr. President," and he's got the fucking bomb strapped to the fucking crop duster.
oh my goodness.
And of course, I can see where they're coming from. They're thinking, yeah, here's his redemption moment. It's like, oh God, that's dumb.
He landed his original jet plane, took the bomb off, put it on his crop duster, and reflew it back into the.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. That little clip is part of my intro to my live streams. That just makes it so much better.
Yeah, you should find that deleted scene. I'm sure it's on YouTube, but like it cuts in that scene where he's like, "Doesn't anybody have any bombs left? Is anybody left or whatever?" Then all of a sudden you hear just like in the movie, it's the same kind of bit, but instead of him coming through the thing with the jet, it's him coming in with the crop duster. And it's really
I'm
bad.
crying. That's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Sometimes you just can't get rid of the bomb.
Some
That's
days
the
you just can't
alternate
get rid
ending.
of a bomb. Yeah, that was the alternate ending to Independence Day. So he flies the crop duster into the fucking ship.
You know, with Independence Day, I always thought that when Randy Quaid flew into the spaceship, they should have played "We're Not Gonna Take It."
I always like the "I'm back." Boom. That was everybody in the fucking theater just
Cheered at
roared.
that one, yeah.
Oh
They cheered
my
at that
God.
one, and Elvis had left the building. Those two are the moments I heard the audience really cheer.
I saw that opening night with balls to the wall people. Everybody was sitting in every fucking seat they could. You had people sitting on people's laps. They must have been way beyond the capacity for that theater. I guarantee it. If that fire would have broke out,
even legal?
No, it was totally. I guarantee it was totally illegal. They had way too many people crammed in that
Sure, we'll
theater.
let you in.
Well, the thing is, I don't think they anticipated how big that movie was going to be. You know what I mean?
Independence Day? Really?
Yeah. I mean, they knew it was going to be big, but I don't think they knew it was going to be that big.
It was huge, man.
Movie
I mean, the
theaters must
trailer
have
was
their own
pretty good.
law as far as that goes, because usually any room or business or anything, you would take the square footage of the floor, and then you'd have everything that's not typical to it, like let's say a bar, your tables, your everything, that's your dead load weight. Then you have your maximum occupancy, which is your live load weight. So to have everyone sitting next to each other in a theater, they have to do the law a completely different way for that, I think. So I don't know how that works.
Yeah, you're only allowed. So they're very strict on that. So I'm sure that night they got away with shit they never would have gotten away with. Like if the fire marshal would have walked in, like totally. And I think Rob sent us a picture of it.
Yeah.
But no, like I mean, that movie just came out at the right time, at the right place. We were
What
And
year
it was
that hit?
fun. 94.
no 96.
94, 96. Yeah, 96.
Wow.
There it is.
But no, it was just it hit a chord that America needed something like that. I mean, movies
Yeah.
had gotten way too serious over the last couple of years.
Yep.
Outside of Jurassic
Yeah.
Park, we really hadn't had a lot of fun movies.
I'm going to give the aliens a gold.
And
Well,
I
there
think
was
that's
there's a big like disaster film type of shift after 9/11, unfortunately. Yeah, they just didn't want to risk people who had lived and saw that getting some PTSD type of thing in the theater while watching.
well,
the disaster
I just
film.
remember when Independence Day came out, the big thing was we had not had a disaster movie or an alien takeover movie since either the early 80s or early 70s, depending on what, or late 70s
Yeah.
ish.
Mm-hmm.
And also they blew up the White House, which people were
Oh,
shocked
God.
by.
Yeah, that was in the trailer, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
it
they
was.
actually did 2 special shots for that. The version that's in the movie is not the version that's in the trailer.
That's right.
They did a special, they wanted to get it out there right away for the trailer. And so the version that's in the trailer was changed because in the movie they decided they had to do a few different things because like the helicopters blowing up in front of the
Yep.
White House and shit in the movie.
Was that supposed to be a random helicopter or Marine 2?
No, I think that's Marine 2 or whatever. Yeah, because
That's
that was
the
the
vice
thing.
president. Yeah.
That's the vice president because that was the whole thing.
Holden
Yeah,
got
they did
out.
that. Yeah.
So he would be on Marine 1. So,
Yep.
yeah, Marine
And the first lady was on another chopper in another state. And
Yeah, because she ended up meeting up with like what a group of survivors and stuff.
Yeah, with
Vivica
Vivica
Fox,
A.
yeah.
Fox. Yeah. I mean, it's not a great movie. Don't get me wrong. If you hold it up
was
to any
fun.
kind of, it's a fun movie. It's a popcorn movie. It was pure, just like we needed it. It was a breath of. I hate using the term, but it was. It was a breath of fresh air after so many serious films, and you know, at that point, movies like Forrest Gump and Pulp Fiction were being considered comedies, folks.
You know what I love about that movie?
Well, Forrest Gump is kind of a comedy, but like the book is more of a comedy than the actual movie.
But that's they were being classified as that, and I'm like, this is not a
outrage the
fucking
AIDS,
comedy.
baby.
It's like shit's got way too serious. I mean, we were coming out of the AIDS epidemic. It was a different time in the early '90s. Like it just felt like we had this lull outside of Jurassic Park that was.
You know
we
what's
needed
funny about
something.
that? Magic Johnson remembers.
Oh, what were you gonna say, Nerd Cookies? Please say something.
Yeah, the comedy was just awesome with the actors surrounding Jeff Goldblum, his dad.
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh,
loved
Jeff
his
Hirsch, yeah.
dad.
What's
Yeah, I
his
was
name
gonna
again?
say. Yeah, I mean, it
Jeff
was
Hirsch.
like with Jeff Goldblum and Jurassic Park. I mean, people wanted more of Jeff Goldblum, and
Yeah,
He was
I
really
remember
good
when
in
everybody
this.
thought he was going to be the big star and Will Smith was the breakout.
Yeah.
'Cause they-
This was before Men in Black, right?
Yep, this is a year before
Yeah.
Men in Black, and then
But
he
it was
turned
after
down.
Fresh Prince, so.
Yeah, but
Turned
then
down Matrix.
he turned down the Matrix because he didn't.
Well, I'm glad he did. It worked
Which
out.
one turned on the Matrix?
Will Smith.
Will Smith did, and he because he was like,
see him in the Matrix. He makes jokes too much.
yeah, he was going to be in the Matrix, and Val Kilmer was going to play Neo or Morpheus.
Morpheus. Yeah.
Look at this.
Val
book I
Kilmer
got.
was? I didn't
Yep.
hear that.
This
Wow.
book is called
Oh,
What Would
that.
Keanu Do?
That's awesome.
great.
It's
I'm
just
glad it
broken
worked
down by
out.
Every movie, it's just like this is why he is a Zen motherfucker because of this movie, and this is why he's Zen because of this movie.
Am I on 2 streams right now? How am I on 2 streams?
What?
I didn't know I'm able to be on 2 streams at once.
Listen to this
That
Keanuism.
surprised me.
Only the fool can permanently disregard the conditions of his own nature.
I know where he got that quote from. That's from his teacher, Louis Beaumander.
But I'm trying to remember the exact
Damn,
reason why.
That's pretty damn good, dude.
Yeah.
Trying to remember the exact reason why Will Smith turned down Matrix, but he ended up
Thought
going
it was
with.
silly.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah. Because the Wachowskis come in and he goes, "This." I remember the interview now. He goes, "This is how they explained the Matrix to me. I got the Wachowski brothers sitting across from me at a table at a diner, and we're just sitting there talking. They're like, all right, just picture this, Will. You jump up in the air, and you freeze in time, and we set up all these cameras, and you can see a 360 of you all the way around. Just picture it." That's what they explained the Matrix as to him. They didn't give him a plot. No, that's what it was. Yeah.
Did he turn down many roles after that? Probably.
Well, no, he said, well, then from that moment on, he went, I remember now, because in the one interview, he's like, yeah, because then I made every bad mistake I could think of with
Wild Wild
fucking
West,
Wild
check.
Wild West and everything after that.
Although
for a
I
while,
love
yeah.
that movie. I do. I know
Yeah,
it's
me
weird,
too.
but
It's a guilty
No,
pleasure.
happy.
It's a guilty pleasure, man.
How did they?
And I
pitch it
love
to the
his rap
studio, I
music. I'm
wonder?
sorry. I do. Love it.
What
Big
was that,
Willie,
Jess?
that was great.
I'm wondering how they pitched the movie to the studio. If that's how they pitched it to him. They're
Oh,
"Hold
The studio
on,
probably had the
it's gonna be great."
scripts.
Oh, or yeah, they're probably required that.
Well, the studio was pitched of like imagine I think it was like a hybrid of like Tron and Terminator meets a whole bunch of other I guess Japanese anime and novel references all smorgasborded into one, and whoever they pitched it to at Warner Brothers like, oh no, I know what all those references are, I like this, and then gave them the go ahead. Can't remember who it was though. Damn.
Every time I see Morpheus, I can't help but think of Pee-wee's Playhouse with Cowboy Curtis.
Cowboy Curtis!
I forgot you could do that.
I always forget he was on that show.
Yeah.
Remember when he went by Larry
Cowboy, right?
Fishburne?
Larry Fishburne, yeah.
No, I know. That sounds weird.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Really,
was his,
Larry?
Yep.
Yep.
Was his first movie, I think. Yep.
He was
Yeah,
in
he looks
Nightmare
like a
on Elm Street
Lawrence.
3.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Yeah, he plays.
Why don't I remember that?
He plays one of the nurses.
Oh, okay.
He's the one who introduces Heather to everybody, and then yeah.
I would have never put that together. Which is funny.
I think that was his
He
first
has the
movie,
unique face.
if I'm not mistaken. Like, if I remember, it doesn't. I think it even says introducing Larry Fishburne. If I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but
Cousin Larry Fishburne.
because I mean, he had been on some television and shit at that point, obviously, but I think that was his first movie. I could be wrong though. Or was he? Oh, that's right. He was in Apocalypse Now. I forgot. Yeah. He was in Apocalypse Now. I forgot about that.
You know what's funny? Like, you ever sit down and watch One Flew Over
Red
the
Heat.
Cuckoo's Nest and realize how many people are actually in that movie that are famous?
Oh, Cuckoo's Nest? Fuck yeah.
Bunch of A-listers.
Well, what's funny was that Jack Nicholson wasn't going to be in it originally.
Who was that going to be?
It was originally going to be Kirk Douglas.
That wouldn't have been good.
Well, it was because when Michael Douglas, Kirk's son, and they had originally got the rights to the play, Jack Nicholson wasn't a big star yet. He was just like, he was around probably, but he wasn't like Jack
Well, he's
Nicholson
a screenwriter back then, so
yeah.
Really?
So like, yeah, and then so like it took so long for them to get to the movie that by the time they were going to make the movie, Kirk had gotten too old, and Michael, of course, hadn't started acting yet, and he'd have been wrong for the part anyway. And to them, like, the obvious choice was, of course, Jack Nicholson, because at that point Jack was Jack. So it's just like,
Now, what was Jack Nicholson's first film?
Easy Rider.
Little Shop of
Well,
Horrors.
technically Little Shop of Horrors, but like his first big movie would have been Easy Rider. Yeah,
He was in the original Little Shop of Horrors?
yeah, he played the
he
Bill
was.
Murray role in that.
he was the patient that wanted to get that liked the pain of dentistry.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
Wait.
he
With
he-
Rick Moranis, that one, or
Well, he
No,
played
this
it in the. Most
the
people don't
previous one?
realize that. Yeah, Little Shop of Horrors was originally a black and white film from the late '60s.
1959, I think.
It's
Yeah, I thought
59
it
or
was 50.
was it 59? Is it that
Really
early?
old. Yeah, it's like
It
really
was right
old.
before they had to change some laws in how they filmed productions back then, and because that's why he had to make it within 2 days.
Well, it was made on a bet.
Yeah.
Because Roger Corman, the film genius, was bet that he couldn't make a movie in 2 days. He's like, yeah, I can do that. And he went and he talked to these guys who had a whole set built for a movie. He's like, can I use your set? He's like, yeah, you got 2 days or, I think they had a week or whatever. So
They had a week, but basically the thing was, I bet you can't make a movie before this new law changes for like unions and stuff.
whatever it was.
He
Yeah.
had
So
like 2 days to do it. And
yeah.
he's
So
like,
they spent like 3 days actually.
Well, they spent 2 days shooting, and then they had to spend an extra day to fix some stuff up on that. But
Well, they did rehearsals, is what I was trying to say, so they could actually
Yeah.
get it done in the 2 days. So he kind of half-ass cheated, but not really. I mean, the fact that he got it all done in that amount of time is just amazing, and the fact that the story was interesting is even more amazing. And then the remake, of course, makes it infamous. So
So how much cocaine was
the
involved?
original Little Shop of Horrors was 1960. That's right. Okay.
I was gonna say I thought it was late 50s
Yeah.
or
No,
late
I thought it was
60s.
like
I said
59.
60s. You were right. Yeah, I said 60s. My bad.
I've never seen that. I'm gonna have
Yeah,
to
it's
check it out.
actually it actually is.
You can find it on YouTube, actually.
It's the copyright lapsed on it, I think.
Are they redoing that? I heard that rumor
Yeah.
too that Chris Evans was going to be
Oh, that's just grand.
evil boyfriend, possibly. in
Yeah,
the
and
new
they got
remake.
what's his face playing the Seymour, the guy from who plays Olaf. He was in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
I didn't see the remake.
Wait, who you thinking of?
He's gonna be in the new Honey I Shrunk the Kids movie too. I can't think of his
Oh,
damn name.
Josh Gad?
Josh
yeah.
Gad, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
He's
just
gonna be
watched
playing
one of his
Seymour, yeah.
reunion things earlier. And
As soon as I heard he's playing Seymour, I'm like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yep, totally.
he's playing Seymour?
That's what I heard.
that's
Well,
not.
I mean, he can sing. So there's
It's
that.
just- I don't want another one. Rick Moranis nailed it the first
I
time.
know. Oh, I heard they
Even
caught
though
that
it is
guy,
a
by the way,
remake,
that
but-
punched
Yeah, I
him.
heard, we
Yeah.
talked about that on our last show, actually. But speaking of which,
Justice is served.
we should probably wrap this up here soon. Cause,
What, they found the guy that punched Rick Moranis?
yes,
good.
the suspect anyway.
Oh, dude, if they got him, they got his face on camera. He ain't no
Oh yeah,
suspect.
they got him. He was some homeless guy who had had several different things like charges, and the jail kept letting him out. Basically, he had like several instances in the months before all of this where he would just randomly attack people.
Well, wrong guy.
Well, I can't imagine anyone replacing. Rick Moranis is just amazing in everything he has. He owned every role.
Yeah, and
Yes,
he's a
he did.
sweetheart.
You went over my
Rick
helmet?
Moranis, man. This dude is like just solid to the core, and like you said, everything he's in is just phenomenal. Such a huge part of my childhood with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and like he
Strange
spanned
Brew.
generations, and then everything that he went through to then like now we're talking about having him come back, dude. Like this is the one thing in Hollywood that I would really be excited about.
Yeah, and with the delay because of the Koof, I'm hoping that they rework a couple of things and add him in the Ghostbusters.
I do too. I was just gonna say if he's not gonna be in Ghostbusters and he does this fucking Shrunken movie instead, the least he could fucking do to make it up to us is give us a Bob and Doug sequel.
That's
Wait,
right.
which movie is he going to be in? What'd
He's
you
gonna
say?
be in Shrunk.
Shrunk?
That's what
Which
it's
is
called.
either a reboot or sequel of Honey, I
It's a
Shrunk the
reboot.
Kids.
Yeah,
Cole.
Honey, I
It's a
Shrunk-
reboot.
That's what they're calling it?
Yeah, the plot is that Zelensky lost his wife and he shrunk himself and sent him and just disappeared. So now his family's going to go get him, and Josh Gad is playing his grown-up son.
He still looks good. I saw him. Disney Plus has a series about props, and I forget what it's called. But the episode was all about reconstructing the original shrink machine because it had gone through like several
They're
changes
probably doing
over
that
the
for the
years.
new movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually really cool. They had a really nice interview with him, and
Well, yeah,
he looks really good.
He was on that commercial and stuff too. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously looking a little older, but no, like he could totally throw the hat on and be Doug again.
Yep.
Yeah, was a cartoon man. I understand. Honey, I Blew Up the Kids. I actually really enjoyed that movie.
I did like the second one. I did like the second
I had
one.
Carrie Russell in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
I
good.
love the first one. Love the second one. I thought the second one was actually funnier than the first one. Not as good, but it was a funnier film. Like there's a lot more jokes in it.
Yeah.
And then, but the third film was fucking utter garbage. But
Yeah, I just
that was
like
like one
the
of the
first
last
one.
things he did, though.
But Spaceballs: The
little
Search
shit.
for More Money would be good too.
Oh, I forgot about
Yeah, at least do that. But I mean, it's sad because we don't have John.
Very true, but dogs don't live as long as you.
I know.
Oh,
Oh God.
What?
Barf Jr.
Poor
You
Barf.
can't pull.
But
pull
who would you
punches.
have be Barf Jr. though?
well, they're doing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles too,
I
and
would
I feel
say
the
Chris
same
Farley.
way.
Fuck that
That you
noise.
can't outdo what John Candy did in that role. He was
That's true.
and I just watched Uncle Buck the other day.
Oh yeah, I was right about to say Uncle Buck. Where he
There's
interrupts
two
the,
movies
girl
right
with
there.
the
I have
friend
said
with
that
the girl.
John Candy has been robbed of an Oscar nomination.
I
yeah.
know.
Good
Yeah,
I
he was
point.
in
agree.
Uncle Buck. He was a bitter old drunk.
Well, especially for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, because he never he gets everybody just looks at that movie like it's a goofy comedy. Everybody forgets that one scene, like
I
where
like me.
Yeah, I like me.
My friends like me.
My friends like me.
Yeah, I
I'm
cry every
getting
time.
welled up just fucking thinking about it
Yeah,
because
me
he sells that fucking scene so well, and it's like, how did this not get any kind of recognition? It's like,
I
yeah,
don't
because
know,
it's a
man.
sucking comedy. That's why. But this
He's
is
such a cool dude
yeah.
too. And
Well,
in
yeah.
Hong
I
I actually used a
Kong,
clip
he got me,
from
like, $10 for
Great
his-
Outdoors. I used a clip
Yep.
from Great Outdoors in my Mandalorian review for steak because I want to eat that steak one day.
Yeah, and dude, that was a great movie. It had him and Dan Aykroyd. Then it had that fucking the hot chick. That's pretty much what I remember. And there was a bear in the house, and they shot it hair off his ass.
Big
and
bear.
had a big
Big
bald
bear.
ass.
They shaved his butt with a light bulb shotgun.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
want a big
that's
Not a
sandwich?
drop of blood.
Big, big, Big Bear Chase!
Aw.
Big Bear Chase me!
Oh, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Camp Candy, the cartoon.
Oh, Camp Candy, the cartoon was always good too. That
Yeah,
was kind of
exactly.
more
For
of
a
a
second,
cartoon. That was kind of a. I think they were anticipating Great Outdoors being a bigger hit, so like Camp Candy was kind of its offshoot.
Yeah, I was thinking that was a cartoon.
There's also
version
Summer
of it.
Vacation,
Totally
too, right?
not.
Oh, I love Summer Vacation.
Are you thinking of
That's
Summer
awesome.
Rental?
Or Summer Rental, yeah.
I'm sorry,
yes.
yeah.
Well, Summer Rental was a bit more for adults. That was,
Yeah.
I think, a PG-13.
Well,
It's
it's
like, so
kind of
did
funny
it
that there's that
feel
one
real?
lady's like showing her breast to everybody.
Yeah.
She's so proud of it.
He's like, oh yeah, great.
Well, they
work.
didn't show it.
No, they didn't show it,
So,
but that was, I thought, the
anyone
best joke is
saying
the reactions
nudity.
of the guys. They're like, stop
Oh yeah,
showing
they
them your
feel
chest.
very natural.
You know, he was also at Wally World, and he was taken hostage. by
Sorry,
Chevy
folks,
Chase.
park's closed. The moose out front should have told you.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
That's not a real gun.
What was the other one?
Has your father ever killed anybody? Just a dog
No.
once. Oh, and my Aunt Edna. Hey, you can't prove that, Russ.
Yeah, great.
And Richard said comedies rarely get proper attention, and I feel like that's so true that they never get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, because the good old comedies
No, it's
always
been
had that touching
decades.
moment.
Yeah,
I had a
it's
bad
always
experience
these indie
on this
films
ride
that
once.
no one watches, like Shape of Water or something that gets the glory and the recognition. And there's been so
Fuck
many
a fish,
films.
you win an Oscar.
Yep, that's pretty right.
I had a
Well,
bad
I mean-
experience on this ride once. Oh yeah.
Well,
I
one
threw
comedy
up.
that I know of that won an Oscar was from the 40s, I think, called "It Happened One Night." That was a comedy, a decent comedy,
One
classic.
No, that was a very
And it
good movie.
won the Oscar.
I'm not a romantic comedy person, but that was a good ass movie.
Back in the 70s, comedies would win. Ask Rob. You know.
Tootsie didn't Tootsie win?
Well,
some
early
awards?
80s, yeah.
Did
But-
Tootsie win?
Well, it got nominated for a bunch of shit, and then same thing with like almost everything Woody Allen touched for a long time. And I don't mean that
Oh, well, Annie
facetiously
Hall,
at all.
You're not talking about Mei Ling or whatever his daughter's
Phrasing.
name
No,
is?
no. Like I just said, I didn't mean that as a pun in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But, making it a little hard for us to believe that other story there, ain't you, Woody?
Yeah.
Hey, some of them guys from New York just like Chinese.
Oh, let's just hope that's the case.
Indeed.
I just don't watch award shows anymore, anyways. Like it doesn't matter.
It's
what-
like
what
an
someone
office
else
Christmas
thinks of it.
party.
It's all
an office Christmas
politics.
party. That's all it is.
It used to mean so much more, though. You
It
know
used
what I
to,
mean.
yeah. There used to be an actual show, like to entertain the actors and the producers and writers from another group of people, but it hasn't been that way for like it stopped being that long before I even got to Hollywood. So
Right? Like
And
Annie
Annie
Hall
Hall
beat Star
beat
Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she died.
It's just
Oh,
so
if someone
it's
dies,
sad,
that's
so that
definitely
means-
that's
that
definitely a
means it's
nomination.
better.
Woody, are you here, Woody? Woody,
I was so surprised when
Rob's
Return
gone.
of the King won. That was
I'm
like
not.
I was flabbergasted.
that was
Yes,
a gimme
finally.
Oscar. That was
Something
a,
I
that,
like,
for
and
the
it
entire
won.
trilogy.
that was a gimme Oscar. That was like more or less if that movie didn't win, you were going to see fucking riots at that point.
I mean, it should have won award. The previous two should have won awards
Well, yeah,
too.
because
I mean,
fucking,
they did for other categories, but
Ian McKellen got nominated, I think, all 3 times, didn't he?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
And I think the other 2 got nominated, but we all knew they weren't going to win till the 3rd one. Like that was a given. I knew that was going to happen.
did the song win best song into the West?
One of them might have won at least.
I know they performed that.
Well, I
song.
know they each
oh, it's
won
so
like
beautiful.
I think they each won like 7 or 8 Oscars each, but then the last one is the one that won the most.
Has a Mel Brooks movie ever won an award?
Not his own
I don't
movies,
think
but
so.
I think Elephant Man is one he produced, and
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
yeah.
So Blazing Saddles didn't get shit.
Fuck no.
Some Like It Hot was nominated. That's
It's
Well, yeah, comedies used.
They got nominated.
movie of all
Alright.
They used to get
time.
nominated back then because comedies were revered in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But it's the change.
Even up through the 80s, it did. Well, and Rob and I figured this out. The Oscars changed when the Weinsteins came into town and decided they were going to buy up the Oscars.
Yeah, they turned them into prestige, more of a prestigious thing as opposed to a celebratory.
See, in the 40s, though, with the comedies, like you were saying a minute ago, a lot of those guys were already had big followings before they were actors, per se, because they were the top vaudeville guys.
Vaudeville or radio, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Alan sees it as an honor to have beaten Star Wars. George was so pissed that night, I heard. Oh, like lividly pissed. Like that is the night I think he like started hating his wife. No, I'm not kidding, because she won and he didn't.
Oh,
Yeah,
awkward.
she won for editing.
And
Wait,
that's part of yeah, she edited the first Star Wars and she edited
Well,
on the next 2, yeah.
I'm sorry. It would not have been what it was without.
I agree with
her.
you. I agree with you 100%.
I agree.
And I have a video called George Lucas is a hypocrite for that specific reason, because it specifically goes through, he won't release the original versions of Star Wars, but yet he fought for the vision of original directors.
I know.
And then the second part that never got released is George Lucas is not only a hypocrite, but he's an asshole, and it gets into the whole
Yeah.
thing of him and his wife. And it gets into how basically this probably has everything to do with as long as somebody else has edited the special editions, she's not going to get recognition or paid.
Oh, that's awful. See, that's
Yeah.
terrible. And see,
But see,
things
now
like
I also
that
heard
make
she
me-
signed off her rights years ago, so I don't know.
She signed off her rights. She's
Yeah.
also she cheated on George with the Carpenter, and then the Carpenter left her. It's
Was
there's
it
a
Han
whole lot of
Solo?
drama there.
Was it
sordid
Han
details.
Solo? Because he was a carpenter.
No,
That
it was
George.
it was
Yeah, but
actually
you
during
know
the
what?
process of their first adoption. Like they were
There are a
both
lot of
adopting.
people who swear that she didn't cheat on him, but I don't think. I think she did. But
Well,
regardless
I'm
if she
pretty sure
did, he drove her to it. That's the
Oh, he
problem.
definitely drove her to it.
Yeah.
It
Because
always
he wasn't
bothered me
around. He was
that
stressing out over Empire.
it always bothered
Yeah.
me that Harrison Ford cheated on his wife when he had 2 kids. To
Harrison
bang,
Ford
Carrie
fucked
Fisher.
everything that moved, Jesse.
Yeah, well,
So that's
if I
the
was
thing.
like
You can't
Harrison Ford, I
idolize these
probably would
people.
too, but I probably wouldn't
That's
have gotten
right.
married either.
I guarantee you each and every. Okay, I'm willing to bet that not only Harrison Ford, but probably Mark Hamill and George Lucas all slept with Carrie Fisher. I bet. Carrie has already hinted that she slept with George Lucas several
she was
times.
cute back in the day.
I mean,
Well, she made jokes about it all the time.
jokes
I don't know
about
if
it. I don't know. But
actually
here's the
true or
thing
not.
with him,
There's the
I don't
picture
know. I don't
with,
think he would.
Chewbacca
But
grabbing her titty.
then again, I wouldn't put it past him because it's Carrie Fisher. Stephen Otten said with $5, if I hosted an award show, it would be 40 minutes long and I would give away cars.
Nice. I'd watch that.
I'll go to your award show.
too.
You can
All
start
right.
the YouTube award show. There you go. Not the crappy one they do, but the real one.
Not
you
the
know?
tubies, yeah.
Yeah, the real one, the ones that actually people care about.
Oh, well, there's YouTube's award shows where they're like, are you
Well,
a
and I'll say to you,
transvestite?
Jesse,
Here's
what
an
I say
award.
to most people. I guarantee you 99% of all leading men have slept with their leading ladies in almost every single fucking movie ever made.
Unless the leading man was gay.
Yeah,
Unless
that seems
sadly, and then
predictable.
they slept with the probably the makeup guy.
So I will
the
say that's why
costume
you
guy,
can't
hair dresser.
idolize these actors. They are playing a role, and as Kurt Russell said earlier, they're court jesters. They entertain.
Exactly.
They are not
yes.
meant to be figures that we
Revere
that
on
we
themselves.
that we revere or that we have to look to for our identity and what we need to think about a certain matter. Like that is
Yeah.
something that we should do ourselves. And they are just there to provide entertainment. And this is a certain role. So while I like Han Solo, and of course Luke Skywalker is my favorite character, but there's things that Mark Hamill says that I don't agree with. But I'm
he's turned
not
into a
in
real
love
bitch over the
with
years.
Mark Hamill.
I'm more like
I
Alec
admire
Guinness.
his character and his role, and I appreciate what he's done for that. And I appreciate George Lucas for what he created, but that doesn't mean that every decision he makes, it doesn't mean he's like a deity to me and that he can do no wrong.
Right.
You know who is a deity though? Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh gosh.
Because he is exactly the same off camera as he is.
No,
on
but Nerd Cookies just showed why she's a great YouTuber. She took it right back around and wrapped it right back around to something we were talking about earlier, and that's a great point. No, and it is. It's a very great point. Like you can't idolize these people because
No, the only thing you can idolize an actor for is that they're teaching their craft, because they at least are like showing off what they learned and how they can pass those skills on to others. That's
well,
where
look
they
how
should
everybody
stick.
freaked out just recently when they found out that Will Smith and Jada Pinkett had an open relationship, or that like for years Dolly
Well, have
Parton.
you seen her? I would too.
Dolly Parton has said, "Yeah, I have an open relationship too, technically, but you just make it work. You just, it is what it is." I can imagine a lot of Hollywood elites have that kind of an open relationship. You almost have to, because do you realize the amount of people that are throwing dick and pussy at you constantly if you're a movie star?
There's
I
a
gotta
lot
imagine
of
it's-
star
yeah.
boning going on. A lot of people that chase stars for attention and for reverence and reputation.
And for
It's
the
uncomfortable.
experience of getting everything for free that they can't afford.
Well, not only that, it's like bragging, like, yeah, I slept with this person. It's like,
Oh
and?
yeah, I know
Like,
lots of people who.
That's where
yeah.
the song "A Whole Lot of Rosie" came about. There was this big fat broad that went up to Bon Scott, and she was giving them this list of all the people she slept with, and she was like, "You know who's next? You." And he was like, "All right."
Oh, God.
And I will say that that's what I admire most about those like Rick Moranis and John Candy and like Keanu Reeves, who these ones that when we do hear about them, it's good. It's normal and it's just
Yeah, all the Canadian boys
Well, we
are
don't
good
hear
boys,
anything,
except for
but
Jim
they're very
Carrey.
quiet
He's a
and
sex
reserved.
Carrey's
addict.
the only
but-
one that's kind of weird.
Say
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's a big sex addict, but no, like you're right. No, it is very rare that you hear of these guys who are loyal and don't stray, or be like Rick, where they actually take on their entire family without pawning it off on somebody else and continuing their career, because he could have done that. He could have hired an army of people to take care of his kids
Yeah.
while he kept making movie after movie after movie after movie. Rick Moranis was one of the hottest commodities in Hollywood when he decided to hang it up.
Yeah.
But, you
Same
know,
with
it's
Martin
more
Short. Martin
worthwhile
Short
to have
doesn't
your
stray
kids
either.
do that, too.
He was dedicated to his wife before she passed, and still loves and reveres her. I guess it's just something weird that from us Canadians from
Fucking
Ontario
weirdos.
that just don't aren't easily tempted.
Oh, well, we did forget the other Mac Daddy from Canada. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, you know what? There was
I heard
always
a
the
laugh there from the feminine persuasion. How are you doing?
I'm
Well,
good.
Isn't that how the kids say it nowadays? How you doing?
Yep.
Or is it how you doing? How you doing? How you doing?
Oh my
help me out
God.
here.
That's hilarious.
Priceline.com. Check it out.
See, you should get a Shatner mask and just walk around picking up chicks like that.
I do have a Michael Myers mask, but it's not the same
Exactly.
exact
No,
thing.
no.
You gotta get some skin tone on that.
Take that to a video. I convince you
Just sit
that that's
there
a
and
good
go.
idea. Then you start walking around with a Michael Myers mask trying to pick up chicks. Talk
With
Kill
like
my
Shatner's
head.
voice.
Oh my goodness. I'm crying.
Happy Halloween. Trick or treat. Do I scare you? That's what I should do is go take a bunch of scenes from Halloween and just put voiceover.
The Shatner voiceover over it.
hey, you know, it'd be a good worthwhile.
That would be awesome.
I got her yelling, Michael!
Yes.
What? You don't have to yell.
I might.
Or do something like what Perry Chan does. Take a Shatner Priceline commercial and then Photoshop Michael Myers' face over top of it.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Let me stab you. It's good for you. It's good for me. It's good for everyone.
If you need help with that time, let me know.
It's a druid curse. Has to be done.
It has to be done.
I have no choice.
Let me know if you need help with that time.
What does Michael Myers need with a machete? I got a knife. It's a big fucking knife.
See, that's what like Jason uses everything.
I'll have to have Rob help me with some of that.
No, Jason does Gilbert Gottfried's voice.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Why
Oh,
are you
Mike
running? Jesus, I hate to run. God.
Slow down.
I'm a fucking zombie.
I'm the only one who's not getting laid around here.
Okay, so who would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre then? What voice could you throw there?
Mike Tyson.
Oh God. Can I totally eat your face? I just want to eat your face.
I've
That's
got a
all.
taste of Ia, now I gotta go further.
I had an ear.
We got to be respectful to Grandpa. He gets the first whack.
Gilbert?
Grandpa.
Who's Gilbert?
Gilbert Gottfried.
You know, when I was a little kid, I always heard a rumor that,
everywhere. What the fuck?
I always heard this rumor that William Shatner killed his wife, and it's just like, even after meeting him for 5 seconds, I could tell that that's a lie.
Well, he's a later killer, you know.
Yeah, but it's just like, talk about somebody who doesn't have murder in them. Like,
Well, from my recollection, he came home and found her anyway. So, like,
And he was shattered for a few months after
yeah,
that.
it was.
I
It
would
wasn't
think.
it like one of his like former fucking like, somebody who worked for him or something like that who had hinted at something like that, and that's where the whole thing started. I don't even remember.
I don't know, just like this bizarre rumor that was always floating around. It was around long before I was born.
As far as I know, he was never even a suspect, or he's never any charges. I don't think
No,
it was ever
I've
even
listened to
considered.
the audio recording of
Yeah.
the police call. If that's acting, that's the best acting Shatner's ever done because he's lost.
She drowned, right, in the pool?
Yeah, she was drowned while swimming. I don't know I can't remember if it was an embolism or she hit her head.
Ooh, God.
Yeah, I mean, he was not. I mean, again, like as far as I know, he was never any kind of suspicion at all. But somebody had started some fucking rumor, probably one of those fucking rag magazines, because back then they were still pretty big, you know. But anyway, we've drugged this out way longer than I planned on. Rob's dead. Ord's is sleeping.
Well, I'm having a great time talking about random things.
That's what happens on Midnight's Edge After Dark when we run out of topics.
So
Speaking
someone
of
just
not-
commented about Dave Chappelle and Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I forgot he was in that too.
Oh, that was great. I mean, I still love that musical number. That's a brilliant one.
Yeah, I love Mel Brooks' films. Oh my goodness.
Probably
He's
for
awesome.
10 o'clock, I'm going to set up a stream about ghost ships.
There you go.
Oh.
I got a fucking video. I better get editing.
Yeah, I gotta do my record for my Star Trek review for episode 5, and then I'm waiting to get a text message because I have to go somewhere later, and it's getting late.
Alan Oppenheimer or Skeletor needs to be in one of these. In one of these, what?
Oh, your voices?
Oh, the voice.
Oh, Alan Oppenheimer Skeletor is one of the horror voices.
Oh. I will eat your face.
That's creepy.
Wow.
Good.
You bumbling boobs. Why am I surrounded by morons? Skeletor.
Yeah, you ever watch Djibouti dubs? Because you could totally do shit like that.
Ever watch what?
Djibouti dubs.
No, but I've seen I'm assuming it's probably a lot like the bad lip reading kind of thing, maybe.
I never saw one of those. But did I ever send you that thing with the Christopher Robin video?
Maybe.
Because they have the Christopher Robin movie, except they refashion it like a horror movie.
Oh, yeah. I think
he's like, "That is thicker than honey."
Yeah.
Oh, creepy. Don't. I love Winnie the
Why
Pooh.
just kill the boy? Why not kill the whole family?
Well, Freddy already has too much of a personality. I don't know if I could do another personality over
Michael
Freddy.
Myers versus Skeletor. John Willis said.
God. You're freaky looking. Why don't you talk?
Well, Skeletor's got magic up his sleeve, so that's...
Yeah. I've had enough of this. I'm not nice.
I'm not kind. I'm not wonderful. I shall hold the puppy.
Okay, now I'm getting flashbacks of like Maltese Falcon.
I fucking love the He-Man Christmas special when Skeletor. Yes, that was hilarious.
That's with Skeletor and Hordak trying to steal Christmas or something.
No, that's the one where Skeletor ends up running. I can't remember what happens, but offhand, but he ends up with these two kids.
Christmas special.
Yeah.
What's that floating fucker?
Orko.
Yeah, they were fixing up the ship, and Orko was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go look around," and he stowed away, and he fired it off by accident, so he gets stranded by himself.
That's right. Yeah.
Somehow, and he meets these two kids, and he abducts them.
Yeah.
And, they teach him the meaning of Christmas while they're all in Eternia. And they run into Skeletor, who inadvertently saves the kids' lives. I mean, he left them there.
Yeah. He ends up, it's kind of like almost like a twist on like a Scrooge thing where by the end he's kind of like good.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Dick Dunn or Lethal 5, Scrooge, that's a great movie.
Oh, God, yes. You can see their nipples. You can hardly see the nipples. Yeah, you can hardly see the nipples. And these guys are really looking.
The best part is that censor gets thrashed about and then also violates all the things that she would normally cancel on a broadcast network show. Like she gets groped, she gets hit, and she makes out with John Glover.
Oh, shit.
Well, John Willis says, God, this has been a great show, so...
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, John.
Rob's sleeping or dead, and Orange is passed out. But other than that, when I first heard, I thought it was Gilbert Gottfried yelling Fenton. Jesus Christ, Fenton! Fuck you, Fenton.
Oh, shit. You remember in Ford Fairlane, he's like, Maxine, my queen. He was like all bondaged, I can't say that, bondaged up and like crawling around like a dog and shit.
Gilbert Gottfried was in that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've got that on Blu-ray, I think, too.
You got everything on Blu-ray.
I do.
You do have everything.
He lives in a video store.
Yes.
Yeah, but seriously, I'd love to just walk through and look at all of your videos.
I've got.
You can make a live stream just about that, showing us all your.
It would take me a
collectibles.
lot of live streams to do that. I'd have to okay, today we're going to go through A.
I would watch that.
Let's see here. According to myblueray.com, I currently have
14,503.
somewhere in the vicinity of 3,000 ish.
3,000 what?
Blu-rays altogether. If you count
What? What?
Yeah.
Dude.
Oh, I got a lot. Some of them are doubles and shit though too. Like I bought special editions and.
You're buying the Lord of the Rings 4K, right?
Probably.
How many will that make for you? How many editions are there?
Let's see. There was the original theatrical DVDs.
And then the extended. Was that
they
separate?
did the extension. The extended cuts, and I did buy each of those when
then
they
the Blu-ray
individually, and then the Blu-rays came out. So I think I only bought them once on Blu-ray. So this will actually only be the second time technically on Blu-ray.
No.
But I did buy The Hobbit. That was only on.
How many of them are unopened?
That's a good question. At least a good third or 2/3.
See, that's what you call a problem. And this
no,
is
that's what you call. If I have to fucking sell them someday, they'll be worth that much more because they're still in plastic, Jesse.
It's an investment.
Yeah,
although a lot of them probably are worth half of what I paid for them. No, I know, you're right. But yeah, my fat ass needs a fucking burrito, Jesse.
You need to do like your favorite things like Oprah does. Thomas's favorite
I should.
Do you watch Oprah?
Me?
Because I'm going to take away your nerd cookies.
No, I don't. But
I'm going to give you horrible story.
I never watched Oprah. That was like something your parents watched.
I think Oprah's just kind of like in the ethos. Yeah, everybody.
I think Tom watched only one episode of Oprah, and it's the one that had the Ninja Turtles on it.
Yeah.
I did watch that one.
I never watched that.
Wait. The Ninja Turtles were on Oprah?
Yes, they were.
Yeah, the music versions.
You mean like the ones where they're singing in a Jamaican accent, the Michelangelo
Pizza Power.
Like, opera?
They were in full costumes, animatronics, and everything, and they were on and being interviewed by Oprah.
But she still has her like favorite things, her list of favorite things that comes out. Thomas needs to do that.
Yeah.
Your favorite collectibles this year.
Tom has a problem and it's communicable, says John Willis. Hey.
Turn it into a good thing, yeah.
Could be worse.
You can read the backs of all your Blu-rays to us, like
Could
in a
be
voice.
like a porn addiction like Rob has.
Look, watching porn is not an addiction more than producing sperm is.
Whatever you just said made absolutely no sense.
It's science. You're a science denier. I love science.
And I was about to give you credit because, yeah, I would say you're probably right because a lot of the Blu-rays I bought that are still in plastic aren't worth a third of what I paid for them, but still, fuck you, Jesse.
See, but like that's why I bought so many comic books because no matter what, they go up in value because there's never going to be more of them.
Phrasing.
It's like I don't read Spider-Man, but I have a shit ton of Spider-Man comics. I bought them with comics I did read just because I knew they were going to be worth something at some point.
Stephen Otten wants me to admit something I'm not going to admit. So Rob can read this if he's alive. No, I'm kidding. Where are you, Rob? Stephen Otten says with $5, repeat after me. My name is Tom and I'm a videoholic. Yes, I am. I'm a videoholic. You know what sucks is I have more videos now than I ever have in my life, and I have no fucking time to watch them.
You want to hear something
That's what
stupid?
for.
This is something silly that I just tickles me. I bought a house that has a half basketball court, and I don't have a basketball, and I hate sports.
Yeah, but you can find other uses for that.
Just turn the basketball net into a bong.
Wait, there's a lot of holes in it.
Make it a tetherball set for your kid. No, like Robert Meyer Burnett kind of made me feel bad the other day because he's like, I've cut myself off at 2,500 discs because otherwise there's no way I could actually watch them before I die. And I'm just sitting here thinking, there's no way I'm going to watch
that kind of math.
I like the bong idea. I like the bong.
Yeah, of course he wakes up for the bong.
Somebody said bong, so I showed up.
You know what, Ors? We got to have you on every show because you just pop in when you need to. It's awesome.
I love it, man. It's great. I'm here for
bong.
you.
Who said bong? Yeah.
I'm here for you anytime you need me, brother.
I don't know.
No, see, now that's beautiful.
You just turn the net into the bowl. You just get a nice hose. You run it through the stem of the basketball, And then
See,
at the base, that's where you
in
take
the
your
actual
rod out.
Even better, turn that court into a garden
Okay.
for weed.
But it's got pavers.
Tear down paradise and put up a parking lot.
Put up a weed.
Well, tear
I
down a
would
parking
love
lot
to
and
do-
put up a paradise.
I would love to do Mead Radio, but Andre's got me under the gun right now to get a video done. And we've got a very, very, very big show in the morning.
Ooh, what's in the morning?
I can't say right now who's going to be on Midnight's Edge in the morning, but I'll tell you guys as soon as we're done, because I don't think Andre wants
I'm
me to
surprised
spoil
it's
the
Midnight's
surprise
Edge in
yet.
the morning and not Midnight's Edge Morning Entertainment. So you got that meme acronym.
What time is it?
God damn it. Where were you when I was coming up with this shit script?
I think I mentioned it to you at one point, but you didn't hear because we were all talking over each other.
Probably.
You should have called it Midnight's Edge After Dark to the break of dawn.
No, Andre would have been like, fuck that, no. I had to argue just to get Midnight's Edge in the morning because I talked to enough people around like, which one of these sounds best, and that was the only one that they said sounded best.
It does sound good, though.
Because it's
What
got
about
that, it's
Daybreaker,
got that
Dawnbreaker?
oxymoronic tone to it. But yeah, as soon as I get caught up on some shit Monkey Jeebus, I do hope to do a Mead Radio soon. I've been meaning to. I did do a couple hours the other day. But yeah, it's definitely something I want to get back to doing soon. Hopefully. I got to get my house in order too. Like, I got a new monitor I got to set up yet.
Oh, dude, there's so much little shit to do.
Oh, I got to get finished. I don't even have my
DVDs
TV and
to
stuff
watch.
like that. Well, I got all my movies are still mostly in boxes and shit. That's what most of my boxes are.
Yeah, but when Burnett did the movie time death map of his, like, what age did he arbitrarily set for himself to die to do this?
I don't
equation?
know. Well, he figures, he'll probably pass away like most people do between the age of 80 and 100.
Wow, most people get to be 80?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Dude, if
I'll
I
be
ever
lucky
get-
if I make it to 60 with my ass. But
Yeah, I know. Like, if I hit 70, I'm like, dude, how'd that happen?
I don't
It's
know.
stubbornness. That's what it is. It's like, nope, not going yet.
Every day I wake up and go to bed and wake up the next day is a good day because I didn't have a heart attack that day, I guess, is the way I look at it.
For
so.
sure.
We just need to get you some more healthy fats and fiber into your diet.
Oh, yeah. I definitely need to fucking change my diet.
I need nanobots for my lungs that clean up tar.
Well, that's another thing I need to quit smoking, but yeah. Life's not undepressing enough for that.
You guys are gonna fucking live till you're like 110 and be tortured,
I would love to be like George Burns.
Yeah.
leathery and shit.
Well, no,
Leathery
just old
didn't
as
care.
fuck.
I just want to live long enough to see humanity destroy itself.
I don't think that's gonna
Well,
I
happen.
want to be
we're
that
almost
little old
there.
guy who's sitting around bitching, going, "I told you it was gonna go to hell. You didn't listen to me.
Totally.
You fucking morons." Mr. Wolverine 007, thank you so much. Don't feel bad, Tom. I've got thousands on almost every floor. Well, luckily I have gotten rid of all VHS. I've got like a few just for nostalgic reasons. Like I got the the THX Star Wars films and from
Aw.
Star Wars.
I used to have
Jedi
those,
and-
but
yeah,
well,
got
they
a
weren't
few things-
technically mine. They were my parents. So.
Oh, and I got Hardware and Wars and a few other things on tape that I just keep for nostalgic reasons. But other than that, I got rid of all that. And then, of course, I never got Laserdisc. I've moved out a lot of my DVDs. Like a lot of times if I get a Blu-ray or a DVD, I'll give away, a Blu-ray, I'll give away my DVD. And then now, recently, if I'll get another Blu-ray of something, I'll give away the other extra Blu-ray I have. So I do try to push things out of the mix. As long as there's nothing different about them as far as like the special features or whatever, then I don't care. So
Now, did you fall for Ultraviolet?
oh hell no. Well, I got
Like
I got
the
some
movie?
to,
Well, there's a movie in the format.
well the Ultraviolet, I mean I do have a digital collection and I do have my movies anywhere, which is what I think Ultraviolet ended up turning into, or it's part of the same kind of thing.
I don't know. It's just they brought it out during the Blockbuster days, and it fell apart almost immediately.
Yeah, I think I got soaked up into
Kind of
several
like
other.
Vince McMahon's Football League.
I mean, I do have my digital collection as well, but I don't count that as my part of my physical collection. I mean, I only have maybe 30 or 40 things, well, maybe a few more than that digitally that I don't have in physical form.
Yeah, I've got at least over 2,000 movies digitally and a bunch in storage. I don't even know what the numbers are. But
Well, I'm talking about just on like Vudu and Amazon or whatever, because my Movies Anywhere will pretty much take all my licensed films over both. Like not every one of them, but like 90% of my catalog is on one or the other. You know what I mean? Between the two. So like I've been able to connect them that way, but like I don't really trust them. So like I'll do the digital copy just so I have it for ease of access sometimes, but for watch parties and crap. But I used to try and give them away, but nobody wanted them.
No, I do that too. I got a 14 terabyte drive with all my movies and TV shows and a backup.
I should do that, but I don't. I just have.
And I plugged it into my Blu-ray player, and now I can play like just scroll through anything. But most of the time, I usually grab the hard copy, like the Blu-ray or DVD, and throw that in.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on what I'm doing. But yeah, I need to get my shit all set up, so I can't really watch anything on anything. That's why I did the Bond thing on the fucking in my office here.
Yeah, your commentary this morning was a good show.
I was a little depressed that I didn't enjoy it as much as I was hoping. But
you're just scraping the surface. You'll either be sold by Thunderball or not.
Sander, I doubt they'll ever do many 8K versions of anything. I don't see that being a real big format.
There's a certain point where your eyeball is just like, it doesn't matter anymore.
Well, not only that, 99% of all movies made now, they'd have to completely upgrade everything they do. They're just getting caught up with 4K. So you're looking at least another 10, 15 years before they get caught up with it. They ain't going to bother. 8K, from what I heard, is going to be more for things like in the science field. They'll probably find some way to utilize it with the glass-free 3D, maybe. But then that'll just basically be 2 or 3 planes of just 4K, basically. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Let me ask you for a little advice real quick. What's the best TV on the market these days? Because I know that they're moving into like nanotech pixels and all this other bullshit.
I don't know. It kind of just depends on what you want it for.
I want like a TV that's badass for video games as well as beautiful for movies.
You'll probably want something with a very high refresh rate, something with, obviously 4K, UHD, whatever, what have you. Yeah, mainly from what I know for gaming and stuff, it's more about like the refresh rate and stuff like that.
Yeah, the only important thing I know is about input lag speed.
A lot of TVs have a game input like on it now where you can mess with the lag. Like mine, I can go right in and mess with the latency or whatever you want to call it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because latency with video games is bad. Because basically you're just filling in images that aren't
pretty really much. I mean, nowadays you can get a really decent 4K TV for real cheap. Like I just got, for instance, for my new monitor I'm setting up here behind me here, I don't know if you can see it, I just got a 4K 50-inch TV for $200. And I got the wall mount and I'm just going to put it up here. And that's going to be my new monitor. So
hot dog.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty damn cheap.
Office is looking good there, Tom.
It's getting there. It's got a ways to go.
What's the cab you got next to the turtle game?
Huh? Oh,
what's the cab you got next to the turtle game?
Pac-Man 40 or whatever it is.
Have you? I know the answer is no, but I'm going to ask a different question. How close have you come to beating that game?
Pac-Man? Not very close at all, probably.
What's your highest level? I never got past 32.
When I was a kid, oh shit, I might have done 15 levels, but like nowadays, I'm lucky to get past level 3.
Yeah, because there's like 300 and something levels in that game.
Oh yeah, and then you get that break level or whatever where it just cuts
the
the screen in half.
You're doing
I've got 2 more game systems I got to get in here. I've got the Marvel one and I've got the Mortal Kombat one.
Really?
Yeah, I just got to get them put together.
Well, fucking do it.
It's tough to do shit on by myself.
You never took them out of the box?
No, I haven't had a chance to. I just got them not that long ago. So I got them on clearance from Walmart.
Boxes full of goodness, and you haven't like.
It's hard to do stuff on my own, man. It really
the
is.
arcade was like my happy place as a kid.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. That's what I want. And here's my 4 arcade games rolled up here, and I got my 3D TV off to the left here. I'll have my new 4K monitor up here on the wall, and I'll retire this 3D TV that I'm using right now as a monitor, and That way I'll just pack it away in case I need it for anything. And, there you
So
go.
yeah, I just got a book on Raspberry Pi, and I want to start getting into it that way. But I want to get into being able to make my own MAME arcades because, I was a carpenter for almost a decade. So it's like the cabinet part's the easy parts. Learning how to program shit, that's hard. But like I have a couple of old 32-inch screen TVs, so I could have like old tube technology. Then I got like one TV that's a flat screen that I could use. So it's like I don't throw out TVs or speakers just because I know I want to start it as a hobby.
Yeah, I don't know how well that'll roll because most the beauty of these is that they got the LED screens in them, so they're light.
Mm-hmm.
And they look so much better than the old standard tube screens, too.
Oh, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Have you ever seen an actual Jamba? Like the unit like the actual unit computer inside of an old arcade machine?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a car part or something. It's fucking huge. It's like you need all that shit for Pac-Man.
Yeah. But all right, folks, I say we bring a close to this because I'm sure Nerd Cookies has some more important shit to do than sit around and listen to us bullshit. And Ord's board is so bored that he's passed out, and Rob's watching porn.
Wait. What just happened, man?
World class bullshitters started here a little bit ago. Why don't you go raid their
Hell yeah, go check those guys out.
Raid their chat and tell them Tom sent you from Midnight's Edge. And
Jeff knows who I am. It's cool.
Yeah, Jeff knows who all of us are usually.
Oh, whatever. You're so cool, Tom.